Well, hey, how are you today? It's time for Ask the Tech Guys. Leo Laporte here. Coming up in just a little bit, Scott Wilkinson and I will talk about physical media versus streaming. And I will ask the philosophical question, how many times you want to rewatch that movie anyway?
I am MIkah Sargent, and we talked to someone who wants to know how to BCC via text message.
Then a great mystery. Why is Jimmy Kimmel so much quieter than every other show I watch? All that and more coming up next on Ask the Tech Guys. This episode is brought to you by Zscaler, the leader in cloud security. Cyber attackers are now using AI in creative ways to compromise users and breach organizations. In a security landscape where you must fight AI with AI, the best AI protection comes from having the best data. Zscaler has extended its zero-trust architecture with powerful AI engines that are trained and tuned by 500 trillion daily signals. Learn more about Zscaler Zero Trust Plus AI to prevent ransomware and AI attacks. Experience your world secured. Visit zscaler.com/zerotrustai.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Ask the Tech Guys with MIkah Sargent and Leo Laporte, episode 2018, recorded Sunday, March 31st, 2024. Heck yeah! This episode of Ask the Tech Guys is brought to you by Wix Studio. Look, I've only got a minute to tell you about Wix Studio, the web platform for agencies and enterprises. So here are a few things you can do from start to finish in a minute or less on Wix Studio. You can adapt your designs for every device with responsive AI. You can expand Wix Studio's pre-made solutions with back-end and front-end APIs. You can generate code and troubleshoot bugs with built-in AI Code Assistant. You can switch up the styling of hundreds of web pages. That means fonts, layouts, colors, all in a click. Add no-code animations and gradient backgrounds right in the editor. You could start a design library. You could package your code and UI in reusable full-stack apps. Oh, and one more thing. Deliver everything your client needs in one smooth handover. Time's up, but the list keeps on going. Step into Wix Studio and see for yourself. Go to wix.com/studio or click on the link on the show page to find out more. Well, hey, how are you? It's time for Ask the Tech Guys. That there, good-looking fella over there is MIkah Sargent.
And that there good-looking little boy.
I'm dressed like an Easter egg today. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter and happy Trans Day of Visibility. We've got 2 reasons to spread love and compassion today. It's pretty cool.
Wow. That's normally Trans Day of Visibility is the last day of March. So it's just coincidental that it can. I don't think they planned it.
No, it just happened to be
Easter.
Yeah, because usually Easter we celebrate in April.
I know this is a really kind of weird day to be celebrating.
The last day of March.
So what happened this week? Well, there's a big story that I guess you probably want me to talk about.
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
You have any guesses?
I don't know which story this is.
This is a huge one, and yet it's very obscure. And so, but it does affect you because you use a Macintosh. Do you use Homebrew?
I do use Homebrew.
Okay. So you absolutely want to update. Just do Homebrew upgrade.
I'll do it right now.
It will downgrade a program called XZ, which you never installed, but unfortunately a lot of other programs do. It is one of those, it's a, kind of a zip library. It does a unzipping, and a lot of libraries use it, including, unfortunately, a very important security library called OpenSSH.
Oh, well, yeah.
The interesting thing about this story is this guy put a backdoor in it, but started very subtly 4 years ago. There's so many interesting pieces on this. First of all, it is serious if you use SSH because it does backdoor SSH, which is used to, I use it, a lot of people use it to log in securely. You may not even know you use it. Synology NASs use it. There are a lot of places where it's used. About 4 years ago, so ZX, this is very commonly the case, by the way, in open source libraries. One guy was a maintainer for years, and everybody used it, but it was, one guy was running it. He fell behind, kind of lost interest, or maybe he fell ill. I'm not sure what happened. And another fellow said, hey, I'd like to help you as a maintainer. This is years ago. and got maintainer privileges, contributed to the library. For a long time, the original library creator said, great, I've handed it off. And this went on for some time. It was only a few days ago that a Microsoft guy, not a security researcher, but apparently somebody who is extremely OCD, was benchmarking the performance of his secure SSH is used to log into computers. Secure shell is what it stands for. He said, well, this is half a second too slow. That's not right.
Half a second? That's a whole lot of time.
That's not right. 500 milliseconds off. What's wrong? And kind of thought, well, there's something I can improve in the code. I found a backdoor, and a serious backdoor, a remote code execution backdoor that allowed a bad guy to get your keys and intercept your SSH traffic.
Wow.
And eventually, you'd be so compromised, it'd be very, 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 very bad news. Now, why am I mean, this is a general technology show. This is not for the geeks and the insiders, except that it's so widely used.
Yes.
And the other thing that's very interesting is the persistence and patience of the bad actor is remarkable. Years in the making. He slowly got more and more trust, slowly got to the point where he could inject this. It was obfuscated, which means it wasn't obvious what it was doing. It was very clever. We think at this point, security researchers think at this point, it was probably a nation state actor.
Wow.
I am sure Steve Gibson will do an entire episode on this because it's such a fascinating episode. So listen on Tuesday to Security Now. But the important point is more of us use it than thought. I thought, I don't have to worry about that. And then I realized I do have to, and you have to, and anybody who uses Homebrew on a Macintosh, anybody who uses Linux, and most of the Linuxes are vulnerable to this, needs to just update because everybody knows about this. For instance, Homebrew, they're downgrading your implementation of XZ to to a 4-year-old version that doesn't have the backdoor code in it.
Wow.
And most Linux distros will do this. So the real point is do it. Now, if you're on Windows, you probably don't have to worry about it. If you're a Mac user and you don't use Homebrew, which is used to install, high-end kind of command line weirdnesses, most users probably don't use Homebrew. But I just wanted to put the word out. This is a little scary
because this could be any of these packages that I have installed, right?
Well, and that's the problem. And Steve's talked about this before. This is called a supply chain attack, where you're not attacking you directly. Excuse me. You're attacking the source of the libraries that legit code uses. And the way coding these days works, every program you use uses third-party libraries, a library of tools written by somebody else. Every program. There are so few programs that don't. And we just assume, well, these are safe. But we have seen in the Python repositories, many other repositories, we've seen these exploits, thousands of them now. The bad guys realize, the great way to get in and affect a lot of people is to get into the libraries, which are then bundled in. People don't really look at the libraries. And this is a problem, a very difficult one to solve. So Steve will talk about it if you care about it. I only mention this because I want to make sure everybody, a lot of people listening are highly technical people who will probably already be aware of this. But if you are a Mac user using Homebrew like you were, you might not have known.
Well, that, and too, I know a lot of people who maybe not even be super technical. At some point in their life, they'll come across something that they want to do. They'll look up how to do it, and they may not know exactly what they're doing, but they're following the steps. And maybe those steps do include installing some sort of, maybe they want to take DVDs that they own and put them into, digital library. And maybe the means by which they do that requires some kind of code that might be compromised. And this actually reminds me, while you were out.
Or worse, use a library that's compromised. Even the code is legit.
Yeah.
But the library isn't.
Yeah, which
almost all Python programs use libraries from PyPy, which has been many times compromised now. So this is a real problem. It's something we have to be aware of.
Yeah. And speaking of that, it did remind me too, I wanted to bring it up on this show. Steve Gibson talked about it while you were out. Another place that we have to be paying attention to are browser plugins.
Oh, really bad.
There was a great story that he talked about where this one developer kept a running track of all of the times that they were offered a bunch of money to basically compromise their plugin with all of these. Then this was just analytics. This wasn't even going as far as to inject code that was going to do something nefarious, but to track the users. And so they've kept from that point on a running list of now 96 or more. I can't even remember how many, just dozens upon dozens of times that different people have reached out offering huge, vast sums of money to inject code into a plugin that otherwise already existed. So yeah, we're getting it from all sides.
Yeah, we sure are.
Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is. Now, there's another virus going around that I want to nip in the bud. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Now, I interviewed some years ago a professor named Jonathan Haidt, Haidt, about his book at the time. I thought it was quite good, and he was quite interesting. He's written a new book that is getting a lot of attention that shouldn't be. It's called The Anxious Generation, How the Great Rewiring of Childhood is Causing an Epidemic of Mental Illness. This is that trope that Congress is buying into, that a lot of people who should know better are buying into, that the kids staring at their phones are suffering from mental illness now, that we're raising a generation that is going to be screwed up forever. Now, that sounds reasonable, which is one of the reasons this is spreading.
Right.
Well, that makes
it does
sense.
sound reasonable, yeah.
Those TikTok adult children, of course it's terrible for you. I just want to point out, and I'm reading this from Nature, which is a well-respected science magazine, and a guy who's an expert in this field, who says there is very little real evidence that this is happening. And he points out rising hysteria about screen time could prevent us from tackling the real issues. Mm-hmm. So there are many, many researchers who are looking into this. There was an analysis done in 72 countries which showed no consistent, I'm reading from the Nature article, or measurable associations between well-being and the rollout of social media globally. Findings from the Adolescent Brain Cognitive Development Study, the largest long-term study of adolescent brain development in the U.S., no evidence of drastic changes associated with digital technology use. Haidt is a social psychologist at New York University and very popular. He's one of those just so story guys. People read his stuff and go, oh, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's true. Like Malcolm Gladwell and the late Daniel Kahneman, who just passed away. But just because something feels right and sounds true doesn't mean it is. You've got to look at the science.
You need to examine it, yeah.
And there is no, I want to say this very clearly, because this is the problem, it goes counter to our gut instinct. Mm-hmm. There is no science that shows a link. There are other reasons why people have problems, and we should maybe address those, but it ain't scrolling through TikTok.
Yeah, and that's kind of the point here. If we keep focusing on something that thus far has not proven to be the case, we're not digging in deeper and trying to find what the root of it actually is.
No one's denying that we have a troubled generation. Suicide rates are up. That's a fact.
Chronic loneliness, that kind of thing.
Figuring out the cause is much more complicated. And just because it feels right that, they're spending too much time on Insta, does not mean it's the case. And it's of course, there's the side effect that we kind of ban big technology. I'm not so much worried about that. These are big companies. Big deal, right?
Right.
But there's a much more significant side effect, which is we'll ignore the real problems or not try to figure out what the real problems are because we'll say, oh, I got it. It's like when the homicide division says, I know who killed the guy and put him and throw him in jail just to solve the case without really looking at the evidence.
Yeah.
We don't know what's causing this. There are other reasons more likely. And part of it is that people are talking more openly about their mental wellness.
Exactly. Yes. That is one great example is you are more likely to actually hear about something that someone's going through than we ever have because there's fortunately,
good news.
Less stigma
Right.
than there has been. Still a lot of stigma, but less stigma. And then we just have to understand, too, that we are still on the cusp of these generations that have truly grown up from day dot with technology. So this is a new field that we're still researching, that we're still studying.
Yeah, and research should continue to see if there are side effects. But so far, lots of very, very good studies say, no, there's no correlation at all. One other thing to point out, we don't have enough school psychologists. We don't have enough treatment facilities. There is, on average in the United States, one school psychologist for every 1,119 students. That's not enough. So you want to address the issues, work on that end. Don't say, oh, it's easy. We'll ban TikTok and or Insta or Facebook or Snapchat or whatever it is. We'll ban smartphones. That isn't going to solve it. In fact, it's going to make it more difficult to figure out what's really going on. Recommend the article. It's in Nature by Candace Ogers, who studies this stuff. The Great Rewiring: Is Social Media Really Behind an Epidemic of Teenage Mental Illness? The answer is there's no evidence of that. Just like, people had thought, oh, a cell phone, that's going to cause brain cancer, isn't it?
Right.
But we've had these now for a long time. And no, it doesn't. There's no incidence, no rise in the incidence of brain cancer. All right, I want to show you something. Now, this is more useful than anything else. By the way, Scott Wilkinson's coming up, our home theater geek, in about half an hour. We're going to answer your questions, too. 888-724-2884.
That's the phone number to call. You can also head to call.twit.tv on your phone or your computer to join the Zoom. And, of course, you can email us atg@twit.tv with text or your audio or video.
So I use this to get in, as you do, into our...
Wow, yours has seen some days.
It's kind of beat up, isn't it? Yeah. I keep it on a little leather thong so that I can get back from the bathroom because I have been locked out.
That has happened. That resulted in doorbells.
I just, this week I put something new on.
Ooh.
There's a little QR code on there. Go ahead and get your phone out.
I would love to get my
Scan my QR.
Let's see what happens when I
scan my QR code. This is called
QR code.
A ping tag. We were talking the other day about how useful QR codes turn out to be compared to things like NFC tags.
All right. I'm going to a website, mypingtag.com.
Yep.
And it says, it'd like to use your current location. I'm not going to do that for now. But I imagine...
I wish you would.
Oh, I should have done that.
No, you don't have to.
I imagine that it would probably say, hey, but it says, I am lost. Did you find me? Thank you for doing the right thing. Please contact Leo Laporte.
Aha.
At an email.
Well, you can also text me without getting my phone number.
Ooh.
You can contact me without knowing my name or my email or my phone number. And I will get, which is really cool, I will get a text. And if you did approve location, it would say, yeah, somebody at 1351B Redwood Way in Petaluma, California, just scanned your tag. This was created, the company is PingTag, PINGTAG.com. It was created by a guy named Amir. He says, my car got towed, cost me $500 because I accidentally blocked somebody's driveway. Had there been some way, sometimes when you do that, you put a note on the windshield, call me, I'll move it.
Yeah.
He said, I wish there'd been some way. So he made these ping tags. Now, it's not cheap. You can get them for free. It does require that he continues to run the service, right? Which is kind of, I guess, iffy. It's one of the reasons I don't mind paying for it. I paid $100 for life.
Oh, lifetime purchase.
Yeah. And I got a bunch of tags, and I can make my own, which is kind of cool. Here's one for the inside of my car windshield,
nice.
Which I have. Now, these tags are right now generic, right? So the way you make them work is you scan them with your phone, log into your ping tag account, and say, here's what I want people to see. You can even have, with a premium account, have them see a video.
Oh, neat.
So or a picture of you saying, hi.
I was going to say, to connect with the human being. Yeah.
They have luggage tags. I just ordered on eBay, they have these luggage tags, but I just ordered on eBay some stainless steel luggage tags.
Ooh.
With the, don't show this too much because I don't want somebody to scan.
They could end up getting your code.
Yeah.
Signing it to theirs or something.
Post.
Yeah. Okay, then you can show it. Because I trust the people watching live. So it's really, I think, a very interesting idea. It's not free. Well, there is a free tier. What I like is you can even make your own. So, for instance, you can make a wallpaper for your smartphone.
Oh.
that has the ping tag on it. And then if I lose my phone, you see, you can scan.
Oh, that's nice.
My little ping tag, and it will notify me somebody scanned it. If you agree to location, it will tell me where that was. It says something like, you can have any message you want, but this default message is, hey, be a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Return this to me.
I did message you.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I'll log into my ping tag account.
Oh, I was curious if it would forward to your phone. That'd be kind of nice.
I can't, nobody's done it yet, so I don't know. Let's find out. Let me get in here. I should have logged in before the show.
Oh, yeah. It says to receive SMS notifications from your tags, please enter your number, but VoIP numbers such as Google Voice will not receive those messages.
Yeah. Hey, boo-boo, take a look at this picnic biscuit. It has your fob in it. Hey, boo-boo. Is that you,
that was
Yogi?
Me. Yeah.
Okay, and look at this. It
Mr. Ranger isn't going to like that.
It also says new ping for Leo's office tag.
Nice.
You can name this, right? Scan alert sent from Santa Rosa. So without your permissions, at least it knows roughly where you are from IP address. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I can reply to you anonymously, okay? So I don't know who this is. It's not your number. Thanks, Yogi. And it will go to your text. So without giving out any privacy information.
That's cool.
So I put this on everything. I put it on my cameras. I put it on my keys. I put it on my car. I'm putting it everywhere. You can print more. You can order more. I did order luggage tags, nice stainless steel ones, although, the basic package you can get. I can't remember what it is. You can look at the website, pingtag.com.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a cool idea.
This is a really cool idea.
Isn't it?
It's a very cool idea.
I think Amir came up with something pretty clever. If the basic package, you get a bunch of stickers that you can put on stuff. And I think I can, on the $99 package, I can have up to 100, or is it 50? Maybe it's 50. It says on the website, 50 ping tags. Let me log in real quick. I can show you.
Yeah, this is very cool. And I like the idea. You could use it with your pets.
Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention that. You can even order from them or third parties metal, instead of, putting a big honking air tag hanging around your doggy's neck. You're never
That's why I don't. Yeah, I don't do that.
It's not safe. This way, you can put a fairly unobtrusive scan code. You could tattoo it on their butt, whatever you want. Now, that's the only thing that, in the long run, worries me a little bit about ping tags, which is, we're relying on their server. Right. It is going through their site, not ours. I would love it if he would open source the server.
That would be nice if you could have your own server.
And I suppose it would be conceivable as possible that somebody could write something like this and make an open source version of it. I just think it's a very clever idea. Ping tag, actually, it's mypingtag.com, and it's patent pending. So if you're going to make an open source version,
I didn't think about medical alert.
Alert, and you can get them printed with some text as well, so it can say different things on it. The default ones say to contact the owner, scan this tag.
Rob J, I suppose, but hopefully you wouldn't do that.
What did Rob J want to do?
Could you make a code to cause someone to download a malicious file?
Well, okay, so that's a good point. There have been some concern about QR codes. In fact, I've even heard people say, maybe even Steve has said, don't scan random QR codes. They're everywhere now, though. Even if you go to a parking meter these days, you scan a QR code to pay the parking meter in many cases. So I think, when you scan it, you're going to see a URL. Mm-hmm. Careful. I think that the utility of these outweighs the potential risk. And you should always consider, like any link that's sent to you, that there is a risk.
Exactly.
You should be careful with that. You're looking at the shop right now. There's a lot of different ways you can encapsulate these QR codes. They're meaningless at first. Okay, that's $20. I got the $20 bundle there, but I also did the subscription. So you get all these things. But I ended up doing the larger membership, a premium membership, because I want this to succeed, frankly. I want the server to stay online. I want them to continue to do this. They have company plans and so forth. So
Very cool idea.
Don't you think?
I love this.
I think I saw it on Insta. So sometimes the Instas pay off. Sometimes. I forgot to wear my seaweed sweater. I got it. I like it. I will wear it next week for you. I actually wanted to wear it a bunch and wash it a bunch of times to see how it holds up.
Yeah.
It's very thin and light. Anyway, instant location scan alerts. You can customize your tag. Look, this one's named Leo, this border collie.
I saw that the dog's name was Leo.
Thank you, Amir. You can initiate chat with finders. I'm not doing an ad for it. I just think it's very interesting. It's expensive, relatively expensive. I agree.
Although people really don't, I've found anecdotally these days, people really like the one-time payment and are willing to pay a little bit more when it's not a subscription.
And remember, in order for this to work, he's got to run this server in the background, and you want to keep this. If 20 years, I guess. Look, I'll be happy $99 if I get 5 years out of it.
Yeah.
Right, then it'll be worth it. So Amir, you got to do it for at least 5 years before you give up. I think he's going to do all right. So I think a clever way to use, and we were talking a couple of weeks ago about using it. In fact, QR codes. In fact, we've set up a QR code for people visiting. We're going to have visitors in studio next week. And I said, put up a QR code so they can join our Wi-Fi. And now we've got that there. You just scan it, press a button, and you're on the Wi-Fi, which I think is a great idea. QR codes, when I first saw them, I thought, this is so bad. This is so ugly. You were seeing them. I remember seeing them in London years ago in the tube station on the billboards. I thought, that's never going to catch on. In Japan, they're everywhere. And now they're everywhere here. And I do think there's some real utility to QR codes.
I agree.
Yeah. All right. Enough said. Let's take a call or do an email or do a voicemail.
No, I have a call.
Oh, there is a call.
So I'm going to pick up on this call.
John Ashley, Mr. Producer. We should put a QR code on him.
Okay. You put your QR code on my forehead. So for those who are visiting the studio next week,
they'll know who you are.
Yeah, they can scan
If you're a club member, you have to be a club member. I think there is still room next week. Am I right?
No, we are actually full.
We're all sold out now.
Both days.
But no, I believe the 21st we have one spot.
One seat left.
You know, and Lisa said, look, fill out the form. If I can get you in, I will. We have 14 chairs. You might be sitting on the floor.
We'll make sure you're not sitting on the floor.
All right.
Beanbag at least.
Caller, hit *6 to unmute yourself.
I want that hand chair. That's what we need is little hand chairs.
Cool. I want my chair to hang from the ceiling.
Oh, we have one of those at home.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's your name?
Please, yes. Who are you? Where are you calling from? Quick.
Dan, I'm from Los Angeles.
Hi, Dan. Welcome to Ask the Tech Guys. What can we do for you?
I have an iPhone and I use the Messages app to send like a message to maybe 20 different people. And I don't want the individuals to know I'm sending the same message to each of them.
Oh, you want BCC for messages.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I found that up until maybe a couple of years ago, I used to be able to do that with no problem if at least one of the people I was sending a message to was an Android user instead of
that's interesting.
That is a nice way
messages
of doing
user.
it. Yeah.
I don't think you can do it with Apple's messages.
And then about maybe 6 months to a year ago, I discovered that, and that stopped working a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Then maybe 6 months ago, I discovered that if I went into the settings for messages and turned off MMS messaging, and then sent the message as a BCC message, that would work with no problem. So I was wondering if there's a way to do this without having to turn off MMS messaging whenever I want to do such a thing.
Yeah. So this is something that you can do this is why Apple has instituted the Shortcuts app. Well, part of the reason why on iOS.
You can do this with Shortcuts?
Yeah.
You are amazing.
So when you do this, what I want to say first and foremost is good on you for figuring out multiple ways to make this happen.
They'll always see the sending phone number. There's no way you cannot.
Yeah, they'll see who it's coming from. But to have it go individually as opposed to creating a group message, you are going to choose to send a message.
I see.
Yeah.
So you tell Shortcuts, send this one message to all these people.
And then you choose the contacts.
And they only see, because I think for legal reasons, I would imagine, you need to see both ends.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It sounds like, you just
don't want to see all the other people's.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like what you're trying to do is send essentially individual messages to 20 people, as opposed to having just one group message where everybody can see everybody else. Correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. I don't want each individual to be able to see the other individual's responses to the text.
Yep. So this is able to be done with Apple's Shortcuts app. It is not something that I'm going to be able to walk you through quickly over our call, but what I can promise you is that I will create a shortcut that we will include in our show notes at twit.tv/ATG. And what you'll be able to do after the show is head there, you tap on it, it will pop up on your phone and say, would you like to install this? You say yes, and it'll pop up in your Shortcuts app on your phone. After that, essentially what you'll do is you will write out your message, and then it will pop up and ask you what contacts you want to send it to. You select the contacts that you want to send it to, you hit enter, and it will individually send that message to those people. Doesn't matter if they're Android, doesn't matter if they're iOS, doesn't matter at all who or what it is, but instead is just a message that is individually sent to those people.
Scooter X has
that would be perfect.
Sent us a Apple discussion that covers this a little bit. So
yeah, if you want to do it, if you want to bypass everything, but it sounds like what you're saying is you didn't want to take this method of going into your settings and turning off all of that stuff. But yes, the sort of other way to do this while actually having to affect your settings is to turn off iMessage and MMS in your settings. But it sounds like, as you've said, you don't want to do that. You'd like to keep that stuff going. And so in that case, a shortcut's the way to go about it. And I'll make sure you've got one.
So that's interesting. So I guess SMS, this is a feature then of SMS.
Right. Because by default, you can't, you have to have MMS for it to be a group message. SMS doesn't do group messages. So if you have all of that turned off, you have to send it as SMS. It's going to interpret it as, I want to send a message to these 20 different people. I can't make a group message and send it all at once. So I'm going to send it to them all individually.
Right. So in effect, does the same thing as Shortcut does. Go ahead.
If you can include in your Shortcut, the way I initiate sending this so-called group message, but to individuals, is I go to the Contacts app and I select a list, one of the lists.
Yeah. Okay.
And I long press the list, and it gives me the option to message everybody in the list
individually. Yeah,
that's how I'd like to. Well, but then it fills out it puts that list on a message.
Yeah, so everybody sees it.
And then, like I said, the only way for me to make sure that each of the recipients doesn't see the other responses is before I send the message, I've got to turn off MMS messaging.
Okay. Yeah, we can work that into the shortcut as well.
So the Apple thing says,
I try to make my own shortcut, but it's
complicated for sure.
Yeah. The Apple community message says, turn off group messaging, turn it off, which is kind of counterintuitive, and turn off iMessage, not MMS, but iMessage. That way you're going to send via SMS what is sort of an SMS group message. The difference is people can't respond to it and see the whole group. It'll only come back to you. Yeah. So it's in effect sending SMSs to everybody. But you have to turn off iMessage and turn off group messaging.
Yeah, which is what you said you did not want to do. So
yeah, I understand you don't want to do that. I mean, the shortcut could probably... You could actually probably write a shortcut that did that temporarily.
It'll pop up. it can at the very least pop up settings to have you toggle it off. Unfortunately, it doesn't have built-in toggles for that.
Okay.
But
That would be nice.
that would be nice.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to see come to. As an aside, Apple listeners, I would love to see toggles for all of the settings come to shortcuts.
Yeah. There's probably reasons.
Well, thank you very much.
Hey, Dan, thank you.
Yeah,
it's
thank
great
you
to
for
have
your
you as a
call.
listener. We appreciate it. Take care. All right. Now what, Mr. John Ashley, producer man?
I think we should probably do a quick little break.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about breaks.
Breaks.
Oh, those. Yeah, let's do a quick little break. And then, of course, Scott Wilkinson's coming up, but I think we'll have time to do a little bit more. I want to mention one of our sponsors, Delete Me, something that has really been useful for us. This is a service that takes your personal information off the internet. And I have to say, we use it because it's not just a personal thing, it's a security thing. In fact, I think every mid-level manager, anybody who has has direct reports in any company should be using Delete Me, because, well, and I'll tell you why. What bad guys do is they go out, they look at data brokers, they find information about who your managers are, who their direct reports are, and they get enough information from that to craft a credible spear phishing attack. And this happened to us, a text message from the boss saying, "Hey, I'm in a meeting, quick, buy a bunch of Amazon cards and send them to me because I need to get these out to our employees as a gift." That's exactly what that message from Lisa, our CEO, said. Now, fortunately, our team was smart enough to go, that doesn't sound right. But these spear phishing attacks are sophisticated, they're tricky, and they all start with information that is available about you and your managers online. Have you ever done a search for your name online? Don't even think about it, because there is so much personal information available. And all that does is lead to the cybersecurity threats I mentioned: credit card fraud, identity theft, robocalls, harassment, just unwanted communications overall. My son called me in a panic yesterday. He said, somebody's sending out text messages claiming to be from me. And I said, you should get Delete Me. As soon as you're a public figure, you need Delete Me. Now, here's how it works. You're going to sign up. You're going to give them some basic personal information. Now, trust me, these guys are credible and safe. These guys are going to treat your data with complete, utter privacy and security. But you have to give them things like your birth date and name. Otherwise, what are they going to do? How they're going to find your data, right? They do this. This is humans that do this. It's not AI. It's not automated. They go out and remove your personal information. They know all the data brokers. There's hundreds of them, and there's more every day. They know where to go to eliminate this information. The data brokers are required by law to have a removable page, but here's the dirty little secret of that. That's just remove it now. They repopulate that as soon as more data about you comes in, which it will. That's why Delete Me continues to scan and remove your personal information regularly. We're talking everything, my friends. Addresses, photos, relatives, phone numbers, social media addresses, your property values, in many cases, your salary. And since privacy exposures affects everybody a little bit differently, they have wonderful privacy advisors, because everybody's threat model is a little different, who will tell you what you need to worry about, what you don't need to worry about. That's really nice. I think Delete Me is exactly the right service. We've been very happy with it. I want you to try it. Protect yourself. Reclaim your privacy. Visit joindeleteme.com/twit and use the code TWIT. joindeleteme.com/twit. Offer code TWIT. That's going to get you 20% off. joindeleteme.com/twit. We have 4 minutes left. What should I do, John Ashley?
I want to pick up another phone call.
Yeah, let's do a phone call. Good, I like it.
We love it.
Refresh something on my end, then I can hit a button over here and
Boop.
Almost. There we go. Phone caller, hit *6.
*6 to unmute yourself. Then tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hey, Leo. Hey, Micah. You got Jamie out of Hurricane Country. Tampa, Florida. There you go. What's up, guys?
He's in the corner, friends.
What's up, Jamie?
Hey, Jamie.
Welcome back.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure. Thank you guys for taking my call. So I am ditching all of my paid streaming services.
All of them.
But I'm keeping all of them. Every last one of them. I'm tired of raising prices. I'm tired of with password sharing crackdowns that seem to happen once a month. I'm just over it, and I'm replacing everything with my beautiful tweed antenna that Leo is still sitting up here, by the way.
It worked.
My tweed, my Mohawk tweed antenna. And I'm also going to be using a lot of fast services for this. In other words, I'm going to be getting 100% free TV. But the question that I had is, if I keep hearing from YouTube, that's probably what the first mistake I could have made. Linear TV's been decline, and linear TV is dying, and people aren't watching TV anymore. They want to pay for 10 million streaming services and 10 million different bills every month. So Leo, I got to ask you, and MIkah, is there a reason why a lot of people I keep hearing linear TV is dying, but is that the truth, or is that just YouTubers trying to be popular?
I don't know look, maybe long term, maybe in 50 years you won't have broadcast television. What he's saying, by the way, linear TV is a really weird. It took me a while to understand what that is. Mm-hmm. It's a weird description of essentially
it's been like 5 hours.
Broadcast television. That's really what we should say. You're talking about broadcast television. The reason being, nowadays we don't have to watch anything in linearly in sequence. We can watch it whenever we want, anytime we want. It's funny though, when we were in Mexico and all we had was a TV, because I wish, and more hotels need to do this, they'd have Chromecast or some sort of way to do my computer on the screen, but we couldn't. So, but they had HBO, but the problem is that's linear HBO, right? You have to watch whatever's on at that time, which means you can never start a movie at the beginning. Remember those days?
You'd always tune in. It's like, what is
It's like halfway through some Sylvester Stallone thing. And of course, I've seen them all, so we knew it. We knew what was going on. But it's a little frustrating. So linear is basically broadcast, though, even though the old cable TV is in many ways linear TV as well. It's not going away. It's not as ideal. And I think content creators are very much more interested in getting $1 million to make something for Netflix than they are going through the whole process of getting a TV show pushed through the networks. Remember the whole green light thing? And remember there used to be in the fall, the new shows would emerge. Remember that?
Yeah.
And you'd have to say, I really want to know what's
it going to be?
That My Mother the Car sounds good. I got to watch that. So that's all kind of gone by the wayside. I think that content creators and the networks will persist as long as there are people, and there are still plenty of them in this country, who don't want to pay for internet television and pay for, like you, don't want to pay for over-the-top television.
Listen. Leo, the truth of paying for 30 different bills. All you've done is basically take one big bill, your cable bill, and replace it with a bunch of little.
And you're lucky because in Tampa you can use an antenna, so you don't even have to pay anything once you get the antenna set up. You get the broadcast networks.
I get 87, Leo. I get 87 stations, man.
There's no question. There's no question that they are under assault, right? I mean, one of the reasons ATSC 3.0 came out, which is the new broadcast standard, is so that they could have some form of
out of that.
Yeah, it's stupid. Some form of interactivity. Because they're trying to compete with the internet, so they can have 4K, so they can have multiple channels. It's really, a lifeline to broadcasters. Look, radio has been dying for several decades now. It's not dead, and it's not dead yet. I think it's going to.
Leo, honestly, Leo, in my humble opinion, as a radio listener myself, it's not dead. It's just moving away from the traditional receivers that we've had for 50 years to now the stations can go anywhere that you go. Thanks to an app on your phone.
But that's the whole point.
Or
streaming and podcasts are just more convenient for listeners. Radio is a little different because it has. Radio is a little different because it has this live component, right? So if there's an earthquake or a hurricane or a tornado, you want to listen to the radio because it's now.
Yes.
which podcasts can't be.
And if your power goes out or your internet goes down, then you're going to be up the creek without a paddle at that point. Because I've lived through hurricanes, and the first thing that tends to go is the power and the internet. That's the first thing that usually tends to go.
Yeah.
And
we got to run because we got
some
Scott
radios
Wilkinson. I'm just going to say I don't think it's dying. I think it's going to continue, but it's not going to be flourishing.
Yeah.
And what's happened to radio is it's become kind of the back alley of content, and I think broadcast television will sort of be that way too. But I got to tell you, Lisa watches The Voice and American Idol. They are able, and I'll tell you what, sports, very important.
Big.
Oscars, very important.
That news.
Super Bowl had a huge audience, biggest audience ever. So I think that there's going to be stuff that you will want, just the same with radio, that you will want that's live in real time.
Yes, absolutely.
That streaming and podcasts and over the top can't provide. On the other hand, if you want to watch a great movie or a great TV show, I think it must have been because there was a log jam due to the strike. But all of a sudden, there's all these shows that I want to watch. I can't. There's just too much.
There's so much.
There's so much content. We thought peak TV was over. No, it was just sleeping. So if you're honestly, if you're a content creator, you're going to go to Netflix or Apple TV or Max or someone and say, give me money and I will make a TV show for you. And some of the best writing, the best stuff is happening now over the top. That's what happens. Hey, you know who's on the line right now with us? Our home theater geek. Perfect timing. Scott Wilkinson joining us from Forever Weird, Santa Cruz, California. Hello. Hello, Scott.
Keep Santa Cruz weird, man.
He's the host of Home Theater Geeks, which everybody can hear now. By the way, Lisa told me, and I'm really pleased, that your show, iOS Today, hands on Macintosh, hands on Windows, as soon as we made them available audio only outside the paywall, had huge subscriber counts. People have said, I can listen to this again. So keep up the good work. Remember that, man. Remember that, our club members get video, but there's a big audience out there that's getting audio. And boy, they love hands on Macintosh. That one took off like crazy.
Wow. Home
Theater Geeks, same thing. Scott covers AV for us, not only weekly on his Home Theater Geek show, but monthly here on Ask the Tech Guys. Big screen TVs, surround sound. And I have to give you credit.
Oh, yeah.
You talked me into buying a ridiculously expensive Panasonic UHD DVD player.
UHD Blu-ray.
Yeah. To connect it to my Dolby Vision capable LG OLED.
Oh,
to buy Dune 1 and Oppenheimer 1 because I wanted to give it a test.
Yep.
There is no Oppenheimer 2.
There's no Oppenheimer 2
yet.
Oppenheimer the sequel. But I have to, because I want to say, because you said, and I think you're it made sense technically, streaming will never be as good as having a disc. All video is compressed. It's a question of how much compression. And I have to say, Dune was mind-blowing.
Oh, yeah.
Compared to the streaming. And I had 4K streaming on Apple TV. I had good quality.
Yeah.
But there's nothing that beats that UHD Blu-ray.
It's not the same. If you want ultimate quality, that physical disc is where it's at, man.
So I want to give you props. I spent a ridiculous amount of money for a DVD player. And
it's not a DVD player; it's a UHD Blu-ray player.
Well, and the other thing I realize is I am not. Some people are. Maybe you are. I don't know. The type that watches a movie over and over again. Usually, I see a movie. That's it. I don't want to see it again. And so that's the downside to this.
Yeah, I have a few that I will rewatch, but they're few and far between.
But rewatch like once.
Yeah.
I have discs. I mean, I have The Wizard of Oz. I'm not going to watch that over and over again. I have the entire James Bond up to the Craig, it was the 60th anniversary edition. All the James Bond. But love those movies. Maybe once more I'll watch them.
Now that you can see them in this luxurious form. Are you a rewatcher, Scott?
I am. Yeah.
I'll
rewatch a good movie. I just rewatched Spinal Tap.
That's a good movie.
Yeah, rewatch it.
It's a great movie. It's one of my favorites.
But we were just talking about how much good new content there is.
That's the thing.
I don't really need to go back. in time. Every once in a while.
That's true. That's true. And there's so much good content, and you're right about that. Do we have time to consume it all in the limited time we have on this planet?
Yeah.
I am a rereader, but not typically a rewatch.
See, that's an interesting point. Very interesting point. You know, people reread stuff.
Oh, actually, I am rereading.
People listen to music more than once.
Well, that's different. Music is different, right? Music is better when you keep listening to it over and over.
I think that's what I get from reading. I suppose it depends on how you interpret and take in a movie, right? If it's about like ingesting the plot, then perhaps it is not necessary to rewatch, because once you know the plot, you know the plot. But if you, for example, rewatching, there are a handful of documentaries that I rewatch a lot, all made by the same director and producers, Helvetica.
That's a great movie.
And there's one for city planning. The name always escapes me. And those I will rewatch over and over again, because there are little tidbits of it that I'll get, that I can pull out that are interesting. But yeah, for most movies, once I get it, I've got it.
Well, but then there are the movies that are so complex or deep that you can watch them over and over and get other stuff from them.
This was the 25th anniversary of The Matrix this week.
There you go.
The Matrix.
Worth watching one more time. But that one I would like. Is that a good UHD disc? That might be a one to get.
I believe so. Yes, as I recall.
Yeah. Not
the movie I was thinking of in that.
Yeah.
And the movie I was thinking of in that regard was Christopher Nolan's Tenet.
Well, you have to watch that 12 times to even understand what the hell's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's true. That's true.
Actually, that's true of a lot of his movies. He's a confusing. Inception was crazy. You know what? I would own Interstellar. I would never watch it again, but just to honor it, I would buy it. I think a lot of it
does look fabulous.
Does it?
It looks and sounds fabulous.
Because now that I have this
UHD Blu-ray
thing, I need more discs to watch on it.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm ever going to watch them, because now there's The Gentleman. I want to see that. There's The Regime. I want to see that. There's so much good TV going on right now. Shogun, I'm so excited about. I started it. Three Body Problem is amazing. I
haven't started Three Body Problem yet.
I haven't yet, but I plan on it.
It's okay. The book was better, I think.
That's what I keep hearing.
This is good. I think I've only seen the first couple, so it's intriguing. I think it's better if you are not a fan of the book, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I thought you said you didn't like the book.
I didn't like the style of the book. It's a
Yeah,
bad translation.
yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's a bad translation, but it's translation from the Chinese. It's a little. It feels
Direct, right?
dry. Yeah, it feels like doesn't feel like elegant prose, and I think that's probably a bad.
And I've
translation.
heard that the TV series adapts it. Some things are faithful, some things are not.
Yeah, and I think you have to for TV.
I like that. A lot of people really hate that. I like that because
Last of Us.
Yeah,
It was great because they took a little thing in the game and made it a whole episode that was amazing.
Yes.
So sometimes that is kind of necessary.
Especially for those of us who have trouble rewatching stuff. I need it to be a lot of new so that I am interested in what's going on.
Now, Dune, interestingly, is pretty faithful to the novel, which is interesting.
Another one that I thought that went way, way outside the book was Foundation.
Yeah.
Couldn't finish that one.
The show?
Really? Oh, I'm liking it. I read the books and I loved the books.
The books don't age well, by the way. I tried to reread them. Don't age well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they.
A lot of older science fiction doesn't age all that well.
Yeah, well, the TV series diverges from the books tremendously.
Yeah.
So I just decided to accept it as what it is,
Right.
not a faithful representation of the book.
Right. What is going on in the world of home theater?
Well, I wanted to share with you my latest home theater of the month.
I love these. They're so much
on
fun.
AVS Forum.
Yes.
I do these once a month. And this latest one, I think is beautiful. It's understated. It's very simple. The walls are. It was built into an existing room. It wasn't purpose built but the installer came in and basically installed these false fabric walls that hide all the speakers. You don't see a single speaker in the room. And what you see instead is very, very simple, smooth.
So these are the speakers, and then they put fabric over the top. They do that.
Well, those are the front speakers, and they put the screen in front of that.
In front of that. The screen doesn't block the sound?
Is the screen perforated like it is in theaters?
It's called acoustically transparent, and there's two ways to do that. One is by what's called perforating the solid material. It's in a home theater, it's called micro perf because they're very tiny. But in this case, and I think in the best cases, that fabric is actually woven. And by weaving a fabric, you get natural,
look how clean
little tiny gaps between the threads, and the sound comes through that just fine.
Really? It's not muffled?
Nope.
Huh.
Absolutely not.
Huh. I have to say, it looks like a rubber room. No, it looks very clean. It looks very clean. It's a little bleak, but it looks very clean.
It's but you want the room to disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I'd prefer to see the speakers. It just makes me, it makes me feel like I'm not hearing. I'm the guy that takes the cover off of speakers. You know how they
like
a lot of speakers have detachable
drivers.
My ELACs, I take the grill off. I want that speaker to have a direct drive into my ear.
Mm-hmm. Well, the grill, by the way, is also acoustically transparent.
Yeah,
I know
it. I mean, if you did a test, say even a blind test, you had somebody put the grill on, put the grill off, and say, "Can you hear the difference?" You would say no.
Well, why they make it detachable for people like me, probably, huh?
For people like you,
yeah.
Because we'd never be able to, I think, prove to some people that there isn't a difference.
You do want to protect the cones. They're very fragile. And all it takes
is
also
true.
A poke.
Yes.
Right. So,
yes.
Yeah.
Also true. Cones. But this guy, the owner of this home theater, was very clear about his desire to not see anything.
Yeah, even the chairs are 30% gray.
They're a little lighter than I would.
It's kind of a grim room, to be honest with you. It looks like a torture chamber, frankly.
It does not.
Torture chamber. There are no chains on the wall.
This is like the kind of place the HR brings you when they want to ask you about your. Never mind. It's just, look at the rack. Now, I'm a tech guy. I like seeing the wires, the racks, the speakers. I want to see the guts. I'm the kind of guy who would buy a transparent phone if they made it, right? I want to see the inside.
See the circuitry.
Yeah. And I do see some speakers are visible. Looks like the front surrounds are visible, which is interesting.
I don't know.
Well, that's in an intermediate stage.
Oh, okay.
Oh, maybe in that last picture. Put up that last picture on the big screen here.
Yeah. I see. You see the surrounds there.
Maybe you do. Okay.
So even he didn't want to go crazy. What kind of projector did he use?
I believe it's a JVC.
Oh, I noticed, by the way, he's using a PlayStation 5 and an Xbox for his UHD discs.
Yeah.
Hey,
not what I would recommend.
Oh, you don't recommend that? Oh, good. Okay.
I don't recommend that.
I like that Panasonic. It's very formidable.
Isn't it nice? Yeah. Isn't that a nice player? I love that player.
And what projector? Looks like a nice projector. It's a
JVC.
Isn't that the most expensive
RS41
part of a lot of these?
Often it is. In this case, not. It's the Kaleidoscape movie server. He's got 22 terabytes of storage.
Don't tell Leo about a movie server.
He's a rewatcher, clearly. Clearly. Or a hoarder. I think often it's really hoarders that people collect these because they want them.
But hey, if somebody comes over and they go, I've always wanted to see blank, and they're like, oh, it's in your Kaleidoscape movie server.
I have them all.
That's right. You have them all.
He also has a Seymour, Screen Excellence, and lighter Neo with auto masking woven acoustically transparent. So there.
Yep. That's the screen. It's a wonderful screen.
Interesting. He chose JBL speakers as well. Interesting.
Well, and this is JBL's very high-end line, the JBL synthesis line.
Yeah. These are theater style speakers, I think.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. They're really, really good.
This would be great for watching the Karate Kid 40th anniversary edition. Wax on.
It'd be great for watching anything.
Anything, yeah.
Interestingly, check those seats that he got. They have motorized headrests. So the headrests can come up and you can rest your head. But they can also come down. And if you're a super home theater geek like I am, not having a headrest means that your perception of the surround sound is better.
Your head is free floating.
Exactly. And you can hear the sound coming from beside you and particularly behind you reaches your ears without having to diffract around a headrest.
Again, all these free floating heads makes this a nightmare room. This is,
I think any home theater is probably kind of.
I've been in some very nice, cozy home theaters.
Do you think that then those cases they were giving up some?
Yeah, they wanted comfort. Yeah. And convenience, and they had little blankets you could put on you.
Oh, well,
places for the popcorn
blanket into
bucket.
this room.
Interesting.
And I might add Academy Awards lining the cupboards on the way in.
We're dialing in on who this might be.
It was a pretty high-end home theater.
Seriously high-end.
Quite a few Oscars.
Well, I don't know if those Academy Awards are acoustically transparent.
No, they were outside. They were in a nice cabinet.
Okay, good.
As
nice
you go in, you walk down
the theater.
Yeah, you walk down. It was a beautiful theater. It was very comfy, very nice.
I try to feature different styles and different.
No, I'm not knocking. No, look, it definitely deserves the home theater of the month. avsforum.com if you want to see Scott's article. I'm always interested in what people have done. For instance, that idea that the headrests retract for people like you who want free floating heads and go up for people like me who just want to rest a little bit.
Rest, you have your choice.
Heavy head, yes.
Very nice. Very nice. AVS Forum, avsforum.com, and you'll see it. I think it's on the front page there. The home theater of the month, powered by Anthem.
Thank you to Anthem for sponsoring these articles. To their credit, Anthem, they don't require us to only feature theaters with Anthem equipment.
Right.
They make fantastic preamp processors and receivers.
Nice.
Really high end.
Nice. And this is
and sometimes, the theater that I feature happens to have it, and that's great. But to their credit, they don't require it. I
think the way he treated the speakers is very interesting. Really locked him in.
Yeah. And this is in an existing room too. I mean, he built the house. He and his wife had this house built, so it's a new build.
Right.
But they just used one of the rooms that was in the plan of the house.
Right. It looks like it's like 16 by 15 or something like that.
Yeah, it's a bedroom.
Yeah. Nice. Scott Wilkinson, you can hear a lot more of this kind of fascinating theatrical talk.
Geekery.
On the Home Theater Geekery Show. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Just look for Home Theater Geeks. And, of course, club members get to see the video of Scott in his lovely abode. Scott,
Indeed.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. I will tell you this. Next week, we will be in Mexico to observe the total solar eclipse.
You're going for it? April 8th.
April 8th, we're going to be in Durango.
Oh, how exciting. I'm getting my car detailed on April 8th. I wonder.
What a coincidence.
You're going all the way to Durango where there will be very little cloudiness.
It's why we did it that way. We decided, we learned that the further south you go, the greater chance of clear skies.
Right.
The eclipse is going to be all across the U.S. It's going to go up from Mexico through Texas, through the Midwest. And the further north you go, the greater chance there is of overcast. So we said, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. We're going to go where there's the lowest possibility of overcast. And we're at an elevation of 6,200 feet in a desert kind of environment. So
wow, 5 days, 8 hours, 38 minutes, and 30 seconds to totality. And I hope you're bringing your Bill Nye the Science Guy eclipse glasses.
Absolutely.
Except no substitutes.
Exactly. No substitutes.
There are so many fake ones there, and they could cause permanent damage to your sight.
Injure you. Yeah.
Don't do it.
I feel so much for the people who experienced these eclipses before we knew what eclipses were and why they happened.
Man.
Can you imagine how terrifying that must have been?
The sun.
Where did it go?
Out.
What's
it's a
happening?
dragon eating it.
Right. Oh man, just that must have been so frightening.
Yeah.
Honestly, the whole place was frightening to them.
That's true.
Everything.
That is a really good point.
Everything was
at all
scary.
The
times was
whole
frightening.
world was
The
frightening.
whole world was
That is
frightening.
a really good point.
Yeah. That was just one more thing to add onto the
just
pile
piled on.
of terrifying events. You can get your Bill Nye Eclipse glasses at eclipseglasses.com. They are to benefit the Planetary Society. There are other eclipse glasses. Be very careful, though. Last time, Amazon had a lot of them that were not sufficient, and people would hurt their eyesight, even could lose their eyesight. So don't mess around.
Don't mess around.
Even if you're not in totality. We're not going to be in totality here, but we'll see. There'll be some darkening.
There'll be something, but be sure, in that case, for sure, be sure to wear your glasses.
Yeah, because you think,
it's covered. I can just look.
Yeah. Yeah, totality is the biggest risk because it seems like it's dark. And I guess it's safe when it's
when totality is fully there. I believe it's safe. We're going with a group that's going to have an astronomer with us, so we'll
nice.
be sure to,
how fun for you. Well, enjoy Durango.
Thank you.
Yeah, Bill, I want to say Bill Nye. Bill Nye will not be there, but somebody will, and he'll be making sure that you are protected, and I like hearing that.
Yep.
Have a great time, Scott.
Yes, enjoy.
Thank you.
Take care.
We'll see you next month.
Scott Wilkinson, everybody.
Bye-bye.
The eclipse is April 8th, and I guess that's a Monday, right? It's a week from tomorrow. You know what tomorrow is?
Tomorrow is April Fool's Day.
April Fool's Day. Remember the tech companies used to do all those
so many big pranks.
And I'm so glad they stopped.
They did.
Because especially as a tech journalist, it was the worst day of the year.
You never knew what was real and what wasn't.
You would go and look at these articles and go, is that real or not? And it happened 20 years ago, April 1st, 2004. Google announced Gmail.
Wow.
And we all thought.
A very real thing that we thought
they're joking, right? Because they were famous for their April Fool's
and
pranks.
Putting a lot of resources into their April Fool's
the toilet
pranks.
internet, things like that. But no, Gmail launched on this day in it's kind of a neat story in 20 years ago. And the reason it was kind of mind-boggling is because they offered for the time a huge amount of storage for your email. They said never delete your email. Are you curious? Do you remember how you were 8?
I actually don't remember the launch of Gmail, I will say.
Oh my God. I remember it because people were selling their invites on eBay.
Oh, wow.
It was such a big deal. I got in there, I think, pretty quickly. And I had a Gmail account. I still have a Gmail account for years. We use Gmail at work. We have a workspace.
Was there awareness at the time of how Gmail was funding itself, or was it all just so much excitement that
everything was free at the time? Mm-hmm. Here is the press release. Google News from Google, April 1st, 2004. Google gets the message, launches Gmail. User complaint about existing services leads Google to create search-based webmail. Heck yeah, say Google's founders. Search was the big thing, and the idea was never throw out your email because you're going to get a whopping 1 gigabyte of free storage. And so you should be able to keep every message you get. I don't know if it would hold 20 years of messages. Nobody in these days thought anything would last 20 years.
Right.
Larry Page says, Gmail solves all my communications needs. It's fast and easy and has all the storage I need, and I can use it from anywhere. I love it.
Remember before that, so many people using their ISP's email
or AOL.
Or AOL, yeah.
Or Hotmail. Hotmail was around before Gmail, I think. Anyway.
And it's still around.
20 years later. It's one of the few things Google has not killed.
Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
Oh, man.
What else should we do now, Mr. John?
I got Mr. John? Okay.
Mr. John.
I was waiting. Do you want to do another caller?
Yes.
I'm going to... let's pick up this caller right here.
This caller right here. Remember *6 to unmute yourself. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Scott from San Francisco.
Hi, Scott.
And I'm a I'm a proud club member since the beginning.
Thank you.
Yay, thank you from the bottom of my heart. We really appreciate it.
You, Leo, have provided invaluable information and entertainment for years and years and years.
Thank you. Well, and
it's
not just for me. It's really because I want people like MIkah and all of our staff to keep doing it. And we really think what we're doing is important. So thanks to you and 11,000 other club members. I think the future is bright. So thank you, Scott. I really appreciate it.
If anybody has a question about signing up for the club that's listening now, please do it. I guarantee you won't regret it.
Yeah. Do you go on the Discord, Scott?
Yes, I do.
Oh, good.
Occasionally. I got in the habit of watching the pre and post show content.
That's fun.
Through the YouTube stream when it was on, and for some reason I find it fascinating, and some of the most interesting and entertaining things have happened unplanned.
I completely agree with you. I've always thought the stuff that happens before and after the shows was the best part of the shows because we have such great people and we're just talking about stuff we're interested in. Right?
Yeah. And the beautiful cat, I forget the cat's name, or not the dog.
Lily. Pooch, yeah. Lily.
Oh, there's just so many things. Let me get to my question, please.
Sir.
I have an app which I use every day for hours frequently. The problem is the company, to save money, I'm positive, I'm sure, they did an update which totally changed the app. So many features were changed, erased. So what I did was, after listening to you, Leo, I went to the APK and I got the last version of the app before the update. And I installed it on one of my lesser phones, not one of my best phones. And it's been working fantastic. But what I'm wondering is...
You basically went back to an older version.
Yes.
And,
only by a couple of months.
Yeah.
By a couple of months.
Do you want to tell us what the program was, or would you prefer not to?
The reason I don't want to do it is there's a lot of talk in Reddit about people are upset. They're dropping their subscriptions. And I do pay every month for this service, and I've been happy to do it. I'm hoping that they will listen to our hubbub and do something. The only reason I wouldn't want to mention it is,
go ahead.
I'm afraid they'll do something which will deprecate the old version somehow, and I won't be able to use it
which
anymore.
They could.
So anyway.
Yeah. Did you get it from APK Mirror? Where did you get the old APK? That's the package.
Yeah,
the program.
APK. I think it was APK Mirror.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good place to go.
I was wondering about how safe that is. That's why I put it on one of my older phones.
Yeah, it is always risky. We were just talking about at the beginning of the show, the risks. Right. And sometimes even a site like APK Mirror that I know is good and genuine could end up being a target of a supply chain attack. And so, you just have to take you be very careful, I guess, is the answer.
This app is so important. This app is so important to my daily entertainment and usage that I just had to do do
really got me now. I'm trying to think of what the app is. Sorry, we won't
push.
It's related. I'll just say what it is. It's Sirius XM.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They have so many great music programs, and I've been into music for 40, 50 years, and it's just great. And when you, I use the app, the internet version, and the sound quality is not that bad. It really isn't. But the thing I'm wondering is, should I try to not update this phone that it's on? Would it be helpful to keep using it? How long will I anticipate being able to keep using the old version? Is there anything I can do to keep it the way it is.
Well, the ideal thing to be for all of this would be to have a burner phone, a separate, inexpensive Android phone that you use just for Sirius XM, so that you could run the old APK without risk. And
I could do that.
Yeah, it doesn't have bank details, apps on it. If it's just blank and just the Sirius XM phone.
Right.
You're not the out-of-date Sirius program is less likely to be a security issue than not updating Android. Not updating Android is a security issue, almost always, because it's a target, right? And they're always fixing bugs. Every month they put out a bug fix, security fix. So if I dedicate this one phone to just this October 2023 version of Sirius, and never update the phone.
How long?
Oh, I think it'll last until Sirius says it's not going to work. You don't even, you can continue to run an Android phone on an old version of Android. Millions, dare I say billions of people are doing that worldwide. And it's not going to break anything as long as you don't try to run new software on it. Where you get into trouble with any operating system that you don't update is, for instance, the browsers will say after a period of time, well, we're not going to update on old versions of Windows because it's too risky and it's too much expense for us to develop versions for old versions. So we're going to move along with the times. Chrome does that. Firefox does that. All the browsers do that. So things like that won't work. But as long as you're not using new software on the old operating system, there's no reason that it shouldn't continue to operate exactly as it did. And MIkah's right. Don't do banking on it. don't do anything that you really want to keep secure. But running radio shows on it seems fine to me. I don't think there's a risk there.
Could I do another quickie question real quick?
Absolutely.
This is more of a curiosity question. I have a TV with Roku built in, and there is a program on KQED from San Francisco on their broadcast channel 9.2 Friday nights, Poirot, which I love to watch.
Love it, yes.
And the strangest thing is, recently this started happening when I have my Roku hooked up to the internet because I have YouTube TV. It drops. It will, anytime I have it hooked up, it will drop the 9.2 broadcast, only the 9.2. So it's the strangest thing. Over the air broadcast, all the other channels come in fine, only the 9.2. And I do watch some of the other programs occasionally. So, I mean, it's fixable. I just do a network connection reset when I want to watch it.
Is 9.2 using the new means of sending data, which is internet instead of broadcast? And so when you're not
some weird hybrid.
Yeah, when you're not connected to the internet, then it's forcing it to be sent to you.
Maybe
over
it's ATSC 3.
Yeah, ATSC. That's what I'm wondering if they've upgraded. And for some reason, your television, maybe the Roku TV doesn't have the ATSC.
Honestly, what I do is I just use the PBS app, and you tell it. Yeah, that's the best solution to it. You use the PBS app. You tell it you are a KQED subscriber. It'll automatically say, oh, yeah, that's your local PBS station. And then you'll be able to, but you have to be a donor. I'm sure you are. If you watch Poirot every Sunday, you must give them $5 or something. And then as a donor, you'll get to have the app and everything. And it's all on demand. And there's a lot of great old American experience. That's why I did it. I wanted to see the old American experience thing.
It's just very curious to me.
I'm interested.
Only the 9.2.
Yeah, I don't know.
The other channels do not do that. Anyway,
I think MIkah's theory is the best theory. I have no idea. How
it's just weird. It's just a weird thing. Yeah. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Good luck for your membership.
Let's get some more people on the club.
Heck yeah.
I appreciate it.
As Google's founder said, heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
Thank you.
I love it. That's really nice. That's really nice. If you're not a club member, you can become one very easily. It's $7 a month. I think the benefits outweigh the cost. It's not much. You get ad-free versions of all the shows. You get access to our Club Twit Discord, which is a great community. Even when I was on vacation, I hung out in the Discord. I just love it. You also get video of shows that we only put out audio for, like Scott's Home Theater Geeks and MIkah's Hands on Macintosh. You also get all that stuff that he liked, the beginning and end stuff before and after the shows. It's always the best stuff. That's because when we're kind of unplugged.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Twit Unplugged, right?
Yeah.
So please, twit.tv/ClubTwit. We'd love to have you as a member. Where's Lily? He wanted a visit from the dog.
There was a photo of Lily shared in the Discord.
Aww.
Lily is doing a very important dog thing.
She's doing dog things?
Yeah,
okay.
very important.
Yes. Was that the picture? Oh, who took that? Did you take that?
Here comes Lily.
Oh, that's a cute picture of Lily in her little doggy bed. She was in the middle of the freeway. Well, not the freeway, but the hall.
Yeah. I mean, it's essentially a freeway.
I mean, literally, that's the middle of the hall.
Yeah,
but you know what? It's
Burke
her hall.
Yeah, Burke said she's the one who puts it out there.
Yeah, she wants to be
moves it from
available
where it is to in the middle of the
to
hall.
all.
She's
Come
also,
here, Lily.
It's so funny because I'm so used to little dogs being pretty submissive. She's
not submissive.
She will stand, like my dogs, if you were to walk toward them, they will move out of the way. She does not move out of the way whenever except if she can tell that you want to be picked up.
She will be here, I'm sure, on Sunday, next Sunday, when we have our open house and on the 21st. By the way, that's another benefit for club members, things like that. How did you get her?
He's just very commanding.
Did he swoop in?
He led the pack.
She will not normally let me pick her up, but she is such a sweetie. Oh, shit.
He has a technique.
It's like swatting a fly. You have to come up from behind.
Producer man and dog whisperer.
Oh, you're the sweetest, aren't you?
No, my dogs are very small. Very small.
We kept trying to get him to bring Henry and Mitzi in, but he says they're too scaredy cats.
They're scaredy cats, and also I don't want them being fed things that I don't want them fed.
Oh, and Lily
and Lily gets
a lot of
the
treats.
Time.
Yeah.
There's one person
the worst. Yeah. My wife is such a soft spot for animals. We have 300 turkeys in our backyard. What? Turkeys? Yeah. You want some turkeys?
She's like, did you say turkey? Yeah. I'd love to have some turkey.
I love turkey. Is it breast meat? Yeah.
That's been my experience too, Galia. Larger dogs being relatively docile.
Yeah, usually that's the case. Lily's like a big dog in a small dog's body.
Is. Yeah. She absolutely is.
All right. What's next?
It would be good time for another break.
I can do breaks. I know how to do breaks now. I've been trained. I've been trained to do breaks. But first, I have to find
the place where the breaks
break
exist.
Material. Oh, Windows. I love Windows. 10 women wrestlers from the 1990s with the best physiques. See, that's the kind of news I'm looking for.
Microsoft is so...
What's wrong with you, Microsoft? What's wrong with you? Our show today. Oh, Lily, stay here. Can you stay here while I do the commercial? Brought to you by Ecamm. Lily actually is an Ecamm professional, aren't you? Mm-hmm. She knows how to do multi-camera shoots, green screen, lower thirds. She could do it all with Ecamm, can't you, Lily? You know who can. MIkah uses Ecamm.
I do.
On iOS today, and so does Rosemary Orchard. Ecamm is the leading live streaming and video production studio built for Mac. Honestly, if we were starting Twit today, I wouldn't have all this equipment, wouldn't have all this gear. I'd have Ecamm. Whether you're a beginner or an expert, Ecamm is here to elevate your video production from streaming and recording to podcasting and presenting. Ecamm Live is your all-in-one video tool, perfect for simplifying workflow. Ecamm Live includes support for multiple cameras, screen sharing. The live camera switcher lets you direct your shows in real time. All the things we do here, you could do with Ecamm. And the video quality is superb. You can add logos, you can add titles, lower thirds, and graphics. Share your screen, drop in video clips, bring on interview guests, use a green screen, and so much more. Join the thousands of worldwide entrepreneurs, marketing professionals, podcasters, educators, musicians, all Mac users who rely on Ecamm Live daily. Get 1 month free when you subscribe to any of Ecamm's plans. Visit ecamm.com/twit. I subscribe too at home. Use the promo code TWIT at checkout. I use Ecamm on my Zoom calls. And you know that one time when the studio went dark because the power went out, I ran home, fired up Ecamm, and finished Twit. Thank you, Ecamm. Ecamm.com/twit. ECAMM. There are 2 M's in Ecamm. There's only one L in Lily. No, actually, there's two. Now, let's do something. Oh, Lily, you want to go, I know, but I'm going to hand you off to the man who really wants to play with you. Oh, all
right. We're going to take our moment of, we had our moment of Lily. I guess we could take another moment of Lily.
Hi, Lily.
Sweetie.
Hi, Lily. Hello. Do you think she smells Mitzi and Gaynor?
She might.
Yeah. All right. What do we do now?
You want to do another phone call?
I got an email. I got to do an email. I can't.
Oh, stretch for the email.
This. They're building up. Got to do an email. Oh, there goes Lily.
She's done.
She says, I've had enough of this holding thing. Images backup on trip from Carl. He's a photographer. Says so right here on the email. My fellow photographer is going on a photo trip to Egypt in a few months. Oh, no, that's where you got to bring a camera. He'd like to be able to back up his images without taking a laptop. Any thoughts? Without taking a laptop, is he going to take anything? Is he going to take a iPad? Is he going to take a phone?
What are you going to do?
What is he going to take with him? First of all, he should take a smartphone with a good camera.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you why. I've been to Egypt twice now. And you go in the Valley of the Kings in Luxor, and you go down into those tombs. It's amazing. They will not let you bring, in many cases, a good camera with you. But they can't stop you from carrying a camera phone. And some of my best pictures were on my iPhone. I think it was an iPhone 14. It was a couple of years ago. But honestly, that is a fantastic and I think much needed tool. And it will solve this problem because you'll then have a way to back up. So now this is going to depend a little bit on what camera he's using. We don't really have a lot of information. But if most cameras these days, Canon, Nikon, my Leicas, will pair to your phone and copy photos over to your phone wirelessly. Sony does that, the Sony imaging app. Leica has its Photos app. I can't remember what Canon calls their app. If your camera supports that, then it's probably, here's what I do, and I would do. You're going to bring a lot of memory cards for one thing. You never erase a memory card. When it's full or almost full, or you're just at the end of the day, depends how many you have, put it aside, put a new one in.
That's smart. That's
your originals. That's really important to protect that. If you don't have a computer, you can't really easily copy that to a hard drive. They used to make, and I think they probably still do, hard drives they call photo wallets that have an SD card reader that do copy it over to a hard drive. So then that's all you're carrying with you. But I think nowadays the smartphone is really the way to do it. So you connect the camera however you connect it, usually wirelessly to the smartphone, copy all the images, and I would always get the RAW, and then use the camera's facility, whether it's Google Photos or Apple's iCloud, to back up those photos to the cloud. Now you feel pretty safe because the originals are being stored somewhere. If you're an Amazon Prime member, they will store the originals too. In fact, you might want to do multiple ones. Depends on your, internet access. When you get to the hotel, almost certainly, if you're at a fairly big hotel, and Egypt has plenty of those, you'll be able to back up. I took some of my most fabulous pictures in Egypt, though, on my phone. So I think you really do want to bring a phone. You want to check to see if your camera will back up to your phone, and then you want to set up some sort of backup. And you're going to do it via Wi-Fi. Don't do it out in the field. Do it once you get back to the hotel to either Amazon Photos or Google Photos or Apple Photos. I forgot what phone I brought with me, or what camera I brought with me.
Yeah, because that's been a while, huh?
Yeah. This was iPhone 11 in 2019.
Wow.
But this is the only thing that you could bring into these tombs. So it's really was important to have a camera phone. Let me see what else. I have quite a few. Google, I don't care about most relevant. I want to find actually a lot of these. I think this is an iPhone, believe it or not. Let me just again look. Yep. 11 Pro Max.
That's pretty.
So I think that while it's nice to have a great camera, and I certainly would always bring a great camera for videos and for going, here we go. So we could only, this was an amazing tomb. And again, they said you cannot bring a good camera with you. And they're not well lit. right? You're down underground, deep underground. They don't want you to use flashes because it's harmful to the. Look how fresh that painting.
Are these restored at all?
Well, Lisa insists they painted this over. There's no way this looks this good from 3,000 years ago. But they said, no.
There's no.
And the reason was this tomb was only discovered maybe 50 years ago and was sealed, and they didn't have a lot of tomb robbers. So the painting is fairly fresh.
I want to believe that it has had no work done.
I don't think that conservators would allow them
to do any
to touch this stuff up. You definitely want your camera phone for those times when you can't bring a good camera in.
This kind of stuff is the stuff that gives me goosebumps.
It's incredible.
I got to see this in person.
You have to go. I can't remember the name of this tomb. But they had just recently reopened it. They kept it closed for a long time, and it felt like this was just painted yesterday. Truly amazing. And Lisa said, no, they've restored it. She said she didn't believe it. That's it. The tomb of Seti I, KV-17. This is another tip, by the way. I always take a picture of the guide poster because I can never remember where I was.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So, and the history of it is here and so forth. So, yeah, I'm glad I did that because I had forgotten where I saw it. But these are all iPhones. Here we are in the tomb itself. And you can see the lighting isn't particularly good.
Now they've put, okay, so that's interesting. With that photo there, did they come down in and they took things and moved them to put them between this?
They just put up some so you wouldn't.
Okay, so you wouldn't touch it
or kick it.
So that's where they were.
Yeah, this is untouched. Wow. They put up some barriers and so forth.
That is mind-boggling.
But it's very, I have to say, Egypt's a poor country, and so they. But these tombs are so valuable to the international community.
Yeah.
That I think they would be very hard pressed to modify these. You could see these are conservators and archaeologists in their table and their chairs. They're still working on this.
Oh my word.
This tomb has an interesting history. But anyway, so going to Egypt, there's great street photography in Cairo. It's amazing. Be careful. There's some dangerous places you can go, especially if you're a woman. But if you keep your wits about you, there's amazing street photography in Cairo. The pyramids are incredible. I have some pictures of climbing the pyramids. No, I didn't climb them. You're not allowed to climb them. Did I say climb them?
You did say
visiting them. You don't climb them.
Does that mean that Leo actually climbed them, but he did it secretly?
There was the Murder on the Nile movie. At some point, they're climbing the pyramids, and I thought,
if you give me an extra $200,
in the old days, they would let you do that. No, they don't. You don't get to do that anymore. You don't get to do that anymore. Let me see if I can. Anyway, that's the solution. Let me just see if Amazon still sells these photo wallet devices. They were very big for a while.
I like the idea that you didn't have to have a computer telling the thing what to do. I could just pop that in and it would move it over automatically. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
See, that's a cool.
And it would have a little screen on it. And a lot of us used those. Yeah, here you go. So they still make these. Some of them are wireless. Some of them connect. You see, it connects to the iPhone. It looks like these are designed to work with an iPhone. That's very interesting. I think they figured, why put any smarts in here? Here you go. Nope, that's USB. So I think maybe this is a category that has kind of dwindled or disappeared because everybody's got a smartphone now. But in the old days, photographers would bring these hard drives with a memory card reader on them, and they would take them around with them. I had a few of them. I think nowadays, bring your smartphone is the number one tip. Pair your phone to your camera, copy your photos off, and then use Apple Photos, Google Cloud Photos. A lot of people forget that Amazon, if you have a Prime membership, allows you to upload originals. I'm uploading 74 megabit RAWs now, which is crazy. CalDigit makes one, but does that connect to a computer, or does that? The whole idea of these is they were completely standalone. They didn't require a computer. He says he's not bringing a computer with him, which is probably not a bad thing. I always have a laptop with me. No, that's a dock. See, that connects to a computer. All right.
Oh, wow. Yeah. There used to be.
It was very popular.
Something called a RAV Power File Hub that would do that.
Yeah. That might be still around. Is it still around?
I'm looking and I'm not seeing.
Yeah. All right, one more. I'm going to do one more because I'm that kind of guy. Do we have somebody at 1 o'clock? Nope. That means many of you
Free to be you and me.
Landline and smart speakers together at last. This is from the Fish.
Hello, the Fish.
Hi.
Which fish?
Just says the Fish. Some of us have landlines for various reasons.
How dare you?
How dare you, fishes?
Some of us have landlines.
Amazon has discontinued their Echo Connect.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a similar device that can connect a landline to an Echo Show 15 so that it continues to announce phone calls? What? I didn't even know they had this. And allows calls to be initiated by voice. Besides the one Amazon device, I also use mostly SIRI devices, HomePods, iPhones, iPads, Apple TVs. Is there an alternative that allows my landline to work with SIRI?
You, unfortunately, are one of a very few people who chose to take advantage of this service.
This is so funny.
Dear
This
Fish.
This is ancient history day, right? These old camera wallets and now this.
Yeah, this is just, unfortunately, no. I have not heard of any new system. Amazon deprecated all of that technology. And I don't believe Google offers anything like that with the Google Home stuff.
Yeah. Here's Scooter X again on it.
What?
Echo Connect discontinued 2 months ago after February 29th, 2024. And Amazon Echo subreddit guy says, I can't stand it when companies pull this crap. It's so darn annoying. I bought it, then you decide not to support it. Well, yeah. Welcome to the world.
If there aren't that many people using it, unfortunately, and it costs.
Even if there are people using it, if it costs is the key.
Yeah.
And Amazon told us they lost, what was it, $10 billion on an ALEXA?
Yeah, just in general.
In general. The thing is, you can make phone calls with your Echo. It just doesn't use your landline.
Right.
And I think that's the main reason most people just go, well,
because you can also just Bluetooth connect your phone to it, not your landline,
all these ways to
your
do
cell
it.
phone to it, and use it like a conference room.
So you got very few people have landlines.
Mm-hmm. There's the first thing.
And they have all these other ways to do it with either a cell phone or your internet connection.
Yep.
I can see why they killed it.
Yeah. I guess you could just buy a purpose-built conference room telephone that you'd hook up to your landline instead. And then I'm sure there are plenty that offer voice functionality if you wanted to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're going to have to basically build your own kind of a system.
Yeah. And that's interesting. I remember back in the day at Tech TV, remember the band They Might Be Giants? Mm-hmm. Who doesn't? Great band, right? And they very early on had something they called Dial a Song, where you would call up a phone number and their answering machine would play one of their songs to you.
Oh, nice.
They might still have it for all I know.
Did we ever figure out if they were giants?
No.
Oh, that's
no. It turns out they weren't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I met them. They were about this tall. So they wanted to go digital. This is 2000, probably. I built for them a Linux box.
Oh, really?
With a modem interface to the landline. That would then, the Linux box would play the songs for you. So it was basically a fancy Linux-based answering machine. And what they would do is they could put their CD, their recorded CD in. The computer would pick a song at random and play it down the phone line using a modem. In the old, days, modems connected to the phone line. So you could call their number. The computer would pick up.
So you did that.
I wrote a little thing for them to play it. I doubt they ever used it, but anyway. I gave it to them on the show. You could probably find somewhere somebody has probably put that show on YouTube. Let me see if they dial a song.
YouTube.
There's a lot of stuff that's in our lifetime, in your memory even.
Yeah.
Disappeared.
Unfortunate.
Now let's take a call.
All right. I'm going to pick up on this caller right here.
And
if you're tired of calling us, you could call Dial a Song. Oh, do they still have it? Maybe not. Dialasong.com. Welcome. The Dial a Song number is 844. Let's call this number. Wait a minute. I really want to know if it's still. They do it. It's so funny. They do it on their website now. I wonder if they're using that Linux box I made for them 20 years ago.
Caller on the line, please hold while we dial.
Yeah, sorry. We got to do this. Sorry.
Leo has to do this.
443. I won't say it out loud because I don't want everybody calling it at the same time. Let's put this on. Can they take us down for playing a song that they put on the... You know, it's cool. It just plays the song. It doesn't say, hi, you've called the
it just immediately goes to a song.
That is wild.
I love that it still works. That's great.
They still have it. 844.
Sounds different to me when you put up the microphone. So I don't think it would take us down.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll be able to recognize it.
844-387-6962. Or go to the site or subscribe to their YouTube channel. And then there's something called the Dial a Song Radio Network. Terrestrial DJs. Boy, this is great. Anyway, I love those guys. They're really great. They were. I wish I could find the clip of me giving them that. I spent a long time working on that. We gave them the whole computer and everything.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Caller, hit *6 to unmute.
I think it did. I think I gave them the option to put a voice recording in front of the song, so play the voice recording in the song.
That's cool.
But I don't know if they ever used it. Hello, caller.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, how you doing, Leo and MIkah Sargent?
We're great. How are you?
All right. I'm calling from Massachusetts.
Okay.
I've been a big fan of yours for a long time, since Brick House.
Nice.
CNET. You did a lot of stuff.
I did a lot of stuff in my day. Most of it I regret.
Yeah. I wanted to call, like, man, I've been following you for forever, for the longest time.
Well,
before
thank you.
MIkah, sorry.
Well, he's so young, you probably couldn't follow him forever. Yeah. So, what can we do for you today, sir?
Hey, I know I've been following you, and then I've been following about the Synology. And I know I never got Synology, but I knew about it. And I'm like, oh, that sounds real cool that you could back up your stuff and you don't have to worry, and you don't have to have the Google Drive or Dropbox or stuff like that. You know,
I love it. I have two Synologies because I have one here at the studio and one at home. I back up stuff to the one at home, and then it backs itself up to the one at the studio. So even if we had, worst case scenario, a fire at home and the Synology got destroyed there, I still have a backup here. One of our sponsors, Leo Photos, has recently added a feature which I love, which it will automatically back itself up to the Synology. So now I have more than a terabyte of photos, gets backed up to the Synology, and then my Synology uses its own hyper backup to back up to the Synology here. So I don't ever have to worry about losing photos, which, by the way, would be an answer to that previous email.
Yeah.
If you had a computer, you could back it up. But actually, I guess maybe a way, you could put a Synology app on your phone that would do that. They used to have one called Memories, I think. Anyway, what can we do for you today? Did you get a Synology?
No, I haven't got Synology yet. I was thinking about Synology.
Here's the downside. It's expensive. Mm-hmm. So it's a computer, not a very smart one. It's got a fairly slow processor. But it's a computer that has a lot of hard drives, right? 2, 4, 8, 16, 32.
Right.
So the box without any hard drives might be $400 or $500, and then you have to put in hard drives. So you're talking, at least $1,000 before it's a usable thing. So it is not the cheapest way to do backup. And nowadays, I think with so many people using cloud storage solutions, I'm wondering, I think a NAS backup, it's for people like that home theater guy with his vault of 20 terabytes, or was it petabytes?
It was a lot.
of movies. That's who that's for. Somebody who wants a huge amount of storage. But I do really like the Synology. If you're looking at a NAS, I could not recommend it more highly. It's been very reliable. There are plenty of ways to do it yourself, by the way, with a PC. FreeNAS is one, Linux-based network attached storage system. But a Synology is just turnkey, makes it easy. Even Steve Martin could figure it out.
Yeah.
He bought a Synology because he's heard me recommending it so many times. And I says, wow, Steve, he said, oh, I got it. I figured it all out.
Nice. That's awesome.
He's very technical. Here are They Might Be Giants on the screensavers.
Yeah. Bobby Orr.
Many years ago.
Hockey.
Hockey. I think this, I don't know if this is when I gave them the thing or not, but
you guys are so great. From Brooklyn, though, not from Worcester.
We had him on a lot.
In Massachusetts. Did you really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we went
that's
to
cool.
some nice suburban schools outside of Boston.
That's on Dial a Song, but that's a Rhino Records, this compilation, 52 songs. It's wonderful, by the way. I've had it for about a month, and I just listened to it over and over again.
Terrific.
What is the Wicked Little Critter from originally?
They had an album called Dial.
It's so interesting hearing how your voice has changed.
Has it changed?
It has, absolutely.
Because I'm old now, right?
You have a richer voice these days.
I just have a better microphone. That is that
could be.
That's what you call a lavalier microphone in the studio like this. Like
I think your pitch has dropped just a little bit.
Is it a little? Yeah, it's deeper because I'm older, and also all the cigars and whiskey.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that'll do it every time. So. Anyway, is it just to say hi that you called in, or do you want to?
Yeah.
Do you want? Yeah.
And, like, if I did get a Synology, like, what are like the cheaper kind of hard drives that you could get for it?
Yeah, I use Western Digital Reds, which are designed for NAS. Sorry, John, what did you say? Red Pro. The Red Pros.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not cheaper, but they're see. So a Synology doesn't use SSDs. I mean, you can get one if you really want to spend a lot of money. They don't use solid state. They use the old-fashioned spinning drives, and they're designed to do that. But you want a drive that can spin and all the time and is always on, and has a very long time mean time between failures. So that's why we use the Western Digital Red Pros. Let me just see how expensive they are. The good news is hard drives have gotten cheaper and cheaper. So a 14 terabyte Red Pro is $300,
and that's
huge.
That's a lot.
That's huge.
Not too much money.
You would probably more likely go with 2 or 4 terabytes. They're $150 each. So now you're talking, if you get a 5-bay to Synology, you're now talking $650 for the hard drive, about $650 for the Synology. So that's it adds up. That's $1,300. But so it's not for everybody. Don't look for cheap hard drives, particularly only because you get what you pay for, and you don't want hard drives in this thing to die. They are designed to have redundancy. That's why you get the 5-drive Synology.
Good God.
What are you laughing at?
That's just a lot of drives. That's all.
It's a ton of drives. You can get a 2-bay disk station for $296. That's somewhat redundant. But I would, I have the 5 bays. Let me see here.
Yeah.
This is a 6-bay. I'm trying to remember which one I have. Here's one for 8 bays for $17.99. But remember, you didn't have to put 8 hard drives in there. It was going to be $1,200. So now you're talking $3,000. So don't go crazy. Here's what I would do. For your first Synology, get one of the 2-bay drives. They have disk stations for, this one's $151 for the DS223J. It's probably an older one. You only have to buy 2 drives in there. So that's another $300. So now you're talking $450. You're going to get 8 terabytes of storage. Now remember, some of that's dedicated redundancy. So take off about a third. So you're going to get about 6 terabytes or 5 terabytes of storage. That's a lot, right? That's probably enough to back up not only your computer, but several others. Here's another good hard drive. These are pretty cheap. The Seagate Iron Wolf 4 terabyte is $80. That's half the price. John, do you think those Iron Wolves are okay? I always get the Red Pros. Yeah.
Yeah, I also do Red Pro.
Yeah, so you got to consider that it is not inexpensive. But I think having a lot of mass storage for backup is pretty handy. That's my take on that.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question.
Synology, Synology. And yeah, I can't remember which one I have. I think it's the 1915 Plus.
Is that the year you got it?
Yeah, well, actually, the Synology naming, exactly. The first two numbers of the year. And then the second one is the maximum number of drives it can use.
15?
Well, but that doesn't have 15 drives in it.
Oh, it's
with an
pseudo
they have an 8-drive
drives.
extender, and they have ways of, so it's the maximum. So you would want something like a 23 or 24 something if you could. Here's an 1823 for $17.99.
So 2018.
Yes, exactly. You're getting it.
I get it.
You're getting it.
Aha.
You're getting it. And you want the newer ones. Generally, they have faster processors. There's not, I mean, how much technology changes. It's generally you're going to get a newer processor. That's the biggest difference. Okay. Next,
what we're going to need to do is, this could be a group activity for all of us.
All of us together. Are we dancing?
No, we're going to take a moment. We're going to stretch. And that was our moment.
I feel better. I feel energized.
Don't crack it too much, Leo.
I could do some
Krakatoa.
Tai Chi for y'all.
Oh, are you back in it?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, well, I missed some because of vacation. I love my Tai Chi. You can't really do it sitting down.
Yeah. Not quite
it's all about the feet.
Grounded, right?
Yeah. You're watching the screensavers. MIkah Sargent, Leo Laporte, Jammer B, John Slanina, man producer Ashley.
Is this a throwback? Is that
Burke McQuinn and his dog, his little dog Lily.
So
and your little dog too, but you called it the screensaver.
Is this the new? Is this the new?
That's what I thought. Oh, he's doing like a throwback.
You know, my old voice also goes with an old brain.
All right. I was going to do. No, he stepped away. Okay, let's pick up on. We haven't done actually at all
a voicemail.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this one right here.
Good afternoon, Leo and MIkah. This is Charles from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Long-time listener and frequent caller to the old radio show, and first-time caller to the new show.
Welcome.
Format. I'm calling for a Linux distribution recommendation. I have an old Toshiba satellite laptop from about 2018 that I would like to repurpose since it's too old to migrate to Windows 11. Other than having an external keyboard, since some of the original keys don't work, it's still good. I'm pretty solid on the networking side of the house. I'm still learning programming, just learned R and learning SQL, Tableau, Python.
Oh, that's great.
What recommendations can you make for a good Linux distribution for a novice like me for the Toshiba laptop? Linux Mint seems like a good option. And also, what data will I lose if I install Linux? Thank you for any recommendations. Bye.
So generally, you can install Linux as a dual boot system, and probably since this is your first Linux is a free open source operating system. It was invented in 1992 by a guy named Linus Torvalds, and it has become the #1 operating system in the world if you include all the servers and the Android phones, which run Linux, and the Chromebooks, which run Linux, and then the handful of Linux desktops. It's a great operating system. It is, unlike Windows and even Mac, it is non-commercial. You're not going to see ads in there. You're not going to see it pushing you to install the latest version of the Linux browser, any of that stuff. But it's also a little less polished. I think it's gotten better from that point of view. It's a little easier to use, but it's a little less polished than Windows. But you just described, if you're learning R and SQL and server and all that, you're obviously a technical guy. I think you'll have no trouble installing it and running it and keeping it running. You can dual boot. First time you do it, I would say, it's harder to install Linux dual boot. But maybe you want to keep one foot in the Windows water and one foot in the Linux water, so you can definitely do that. They'll all do that. My personal recommendation is if that Toshiba is not your only computer, make it a dedicated Linux machine, in which case it will wipe out everything. So you want to back up your data. You do want to do this anyway. You want to back up your data to something else. because you are going to start over on this drive. You're going to wipe it. All the new Linux distributions have installers that are very easy to use. You should let them partition the drive as they choose. As you get more expert, maybe down the road, you'll partition it in your, the way you like it. That's what I do. There are two main there are more than that, but let's say two main roads of Linux. There's also the SUSE Fedora road, but let's talk about the two main roads of Linux. One is based on Debian, which is a community. It's actually the name of the guy and his wife, Deb and Ian's Linux. Yeah. And that's community driven. There's zero commercial. It's everybody. It's wonderful. It's well done. And it's a little more stable. It is kind of more like Windows and Mac, where they have big releases, maybe once, twice, 3 times a year. And Ubuntu and the Linux Mint you mentioned, those are all derivatives of Debian, as is Pop! OS, which is another very easy to use, nice Linux from the System 76 folks. Those are all, they start with Debian, and they, when you customize a Linux distribution, you might change the installer, you might change the common bundled apps, maybe do a different desktop environment. All that stuff's customizable. But the base root version of Linux that they're starting with is Debian. There is a second branch of Linux, which I prefer actually, called Arch. And Arch has led to a number of derivatives as well. I use an Arch derivative called Manjaro. The reason I like Arch is it's what we call a rolling distribution. Debian, as I said, only updates periodically. They'll do security patches from time to time, but it's very stable. It doesn't change much. But I am used to a computer that is always updating, that all the browsers are updating, everything's updating all the time. That's really more what Arch is. It's a rolling distribution where everything will constantly be updated. And so you will at least every week probably do a major update. The drawback to that is it sometimes can cause stability issues. I find that's not a problem, but potentially. The advantage to it is you always have the latest version of everything. For instance, if you're using Arch, this XE problem that we were talking about early, that was patched right away. Actually, Ubuntu and Debian had patched it as well. So security patches, they roll out, but they're slower to roll out. The idea is we want you to have a stable system. You don't update it as much. So that might be your bent, whichever you prefer. I like rolling. And I think Manjaro is very nice because it's very easy to install. It's very smart installer. It will almost certainly handle all of the proprietary stuff on that Toshiba. It'll partition your drive in an intelligent way. It uses modern file systems. It uses modern desktop environments. All of those later you'll be able to customize. But the first time you're going to want something that does it all for you. Manjaro is a good one. Frankly, on the Ubuntu side, I would look at Pop! OS. I found that to be a very reliable installer as well. It handles all of the weirdness because, every PC is a little different. Pop! OS does a great job. They have, the System 76 folks have written a new desktop environment in Rust called Cosmic that I think is going to be very interesting. I don't know if that's shipping yet with Pop! OS. It's very close to. I think it's only in beta right now. That's another choice that you're going to have to make. Really more important than anything else is the desktop environment because that's the look and feel. Unlike Mac and Windows, you can have any look and feel you want. And that's one of the things I like about Linux, but it also is one of the things that confuses people. Most people, both on Ubuntu and the Arch side, will kind of go with something called GNOME, G-N-O-M-E, from the GNU project. Mint is unique in that it is Ubuntu with its own desktop environment, which I'm not crazy about. It's called Cinnamon. And frankly, it's more Windows-like, which is why a lot of people use it. And frankly, it's kind of crazy to have your own distribution just because you want your desktop environment. So I'm not a fan of Mint, to be honest with you. I think it's a little quirky. I would prefer you go with Pop! OS. Now, that will have its own desktop environment as well. They were using GNOME. I think they've changed, but I'm not sure, to Cosmic. Manjaro, you have a choice. You can use KDE. A lot of people like that. A lot of bells and whistles. I think stick with GNOME at first. It's simpler. It's cleaner. It's fast. It's kind of default. So to answer your question, probably for you, Pop! OS, your first one. You were nodding. You like it?
Yeah, I like Pop! OS because it is kind of an easy understanding.
Easy, clean.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember if they're still using GNOME. They have a variety, I think, of choices with their desktop environment. That's one thing you're going to see when you go look at these. Pop! OS, workflow customization, desktops environment. I don't know. I don't know what they ship with these days. It's been a while. I've been with Manjaro for a long time. What do I use on that Lenovo? I think that's Manjaro over there. That's what I use on most of our shows, Twig, Mac Break Weekly, Twit. Compatible with most software tools. They don't even say. Let's see, maybe if I go to the download page. Yeah, they don't even say. Oh, one other thing to consider is the video card. Most Linuxes work out of the box with AMD video cards. If you have NVIDIA video cards, you'll definitely want to get an NVIDIA version of Pop! OS or Manjaro so that it has the proprietary NVIDIA drivers. This is an issue. A lot of purists in the Linux world say, no, everything has to be open source. Don't want any proprietary stuff on my computer. That's probably not practical.
Yeah, not necessarily realistic, right?
And maybe even for that Toshiba, impossible. So you're going to want to make sure that it supports. One thing to do probably before you install anything is you're going to download it, put it on a USB key. That'll be the installer, but it will also run a live version of it without installing it. And you can see, make sure that everything works, the mouse, the trackpad, the keyboard, all that stuff.
Comes with GNOME by default.
Yeah. So they haven't moved to Cosmic yet, but that will be coming. And I think that will be very interesting when it does. That's a lot of work, though, to write a new desktop environment. So yeah, Pop! OS 2204. You see that LTS, long-term service. That means it's not going to get updated a whole lot. It's not a rolling version. It's a long-term, you don't have to do a lot of updating. It's going to be it's focused on stability, not currency, not the latest. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy it. GNOME by default, but it's easy to change. That's the thing. And I think at some point, I will, when Cosmic comes out, we'll definitely take a look at that. All right.
I have a caller lined up right here.
Look at him. He appeared like magic. It's great. Welcome, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from? First name.
Aaron.
Hi, Aaron.
I'm calling from Ashfield, Massachusetts.
Very nice. Is that Western Massachusetts?
Yeah, up in the northwestern corner.
Beautiful part of the country. I love it.
About as far from Boston as you can get and still be in Massachusetts.
Yeah. By the way, I love your clock. I recognize that clock. What can we do for you, Aaron?
Well, I just wanted to say, before I tell you my problem, I'm watching you here and through my Framework laptop.
Oh,
love the Framework.
And listening and hearing you on my Aftershocks.
Oh, wow. Another sponsor.
Nice.
I really like.
Yeah, good man.
Member of the club, and before that, I used to leave a tip in your tip jar every month.
Thank you, Aaron.
You so much.
God bless you. I really appreciate that.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Very kind.
Been watching you right since the beginning.
Since they might be giants.
Anyway. So I have a problem which I'm not sure we're going to solve, but I thought it might be interesting. I've got YouTube TV.
Yeah.
And I have Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert and Seth Meyers set to record, among a lot of other things.
Who has time to stay up till 11 o'clock at night to watch TV? Yeah. So yes, DVR them.
And if you skip the commercials, about 15 minutes.
I know, they're a lot shorter.
And I find them useful to put me to sleep.
Perfect.
Keeps my mind from running away with me.
Perfect.
And about 2 months ago, the sound on the Jimmy Kimmel recordings got so low that in my bedroom, I have an old Panasonic Viera plasma.
Nice.
And I have a Roku Premiere. And the sound scale on the Viera is 0 to 100.
Yeah.
And a normal listening for everything else that I listen to is around 25 to 30.
Oh, wow. Okay. I listen about 70. Better get better hearing aids.
and actually, most of the time I use the Roku app and a private listening through my,
isn't that
with
nice?
my,
yeah,
with the aftershocks connected to the phone, which works great because you can go, it's Wi-Fi, it's not Bluetooth. So I can go all around the house and not lose connection or anything.
Yeah.
And I just, I can understand people better and it just works really well. So I end up using it most of the time when I'm upstairs. And the sound level on the Kimmel show is so low that if I turn the Viera up to 100, you can hear it, but it's still not really
loud
enough to.
And is it the same on the headphones when you listen?
Yeah, the headphones, it's worse because even if I turn that up all the way, you can tell there's some sound there, but that's about it.
Well, that's terrible.
And the interesting thing is that that's the only thing that happens with that is the only one. I tried recording. I set record just before and just after the local news in Springfield and Nightline, and they're fine. If I Chromecast it from my phone, it's fine. If I Chromecast it from a computer, it's fine. Listen to it on the computer and whatever. This is the recording. Of course, it's the same recording that everybody has, but and it on the downstairs TV, no problem.
I'm going to guess that this has something to do with encoding.
Yeah, that's what it's sounding like to me too.
This is a weird one that it would just be that show, but Yeah.
So the next thing I did was I took the Roku from the upstairs down and connected it to the downstairs TV.
Yeah.
And the sound was fine there.
Okay.
But then I just to see, I connected up the Roku app and my aftershocks, and it's low there. So, the Roku Plus upstairs on the Panasonic is fine, works fine. So
I'm wondering. So there is a way to enable and disable surround on YouTube TV. It supports 5.1 surround.
I've tried all of the settings for different sound settings, and it doesn't make any difference.
And you said the real wrinkle for me now is that you said that when you took the other Roku and you connected it to the plasma, then you did not have the issue, correct?
That's right.
Yeah. See, up to that point, I was thinking that older plasma TV was somehow not processing the encoding correctly.
It's a setting in the Roku.
Some kind of weird interaction between the Roku and the Panasonic and YouTube TV, I guess.
Wow.
But it's so weird that I record a lot of different shows on YouTube TV, and
this is the only show.
This is the only one.
Kimmel is the only show that it does that. Yeah, that does speak to.
Oh, here's another thing that's interesting. If I come up, say I go to turn it on, the show starts at I think 11:30 probably, and say at midnight I decide I'm going to watch that, and I turn it on and I start at the beginning. So I'm still listening to a recording because the show is live and it's still on, but the sound is fine then.
Really? So it's only after the fact. I wonder if there's some process.
It's only after it's staged overnight that it doesn't work.
When it's being saved?
That's interesting that YouTube TV is somehow recording. I think this is a bug. I don't think this is now I'm not thinking it's a codec issue. I really think it's a bug.
Probably.
Unless Jimmy's
your XLR just came unplugged on your mic at the end.
I was wondering why I got so quiet. There you. I thought my headphones must have cut out. I think it is a bug in the YouTube TV DVR. It's not recording it properly.
I thought possibly somebody listening.
Somebody else
might have had the same
as well.
If it were a codec, it'd be more consistent.
Right.
For instance, live would be the same as recorded. The fact that it only happens on the recording is, I think, telling. YouTube TV is not bug-free. Don't know what the bug would be.
Given that you are paying for YouTube TV,
you should call them.
The support should be,
yeah.
I would reach out.
You pay a lot for it. It's not cheap.
You want to, everything that you just told us, exactly how you told us, make sure you've got all of that information available. It is.
But you know what they're going to say? They're going to say, well, we've never heard of that before.
Of course. They might, yeah. This is really fascinating. That's something I hadn't heard before.
It's not anything that's critical to my life, but I just thought it was kind of interesting.
There is a YouTube TV subreddit, which I am a member of and I follow. And I am seeing on Reddit, YouTube TV audio issues, terrible audio on recordings.
Yeah. On recordings. See, I wonder.
I've done a lot of searching around and I've come across those same kind of things. But if you read them, it's not the same problem as they're talking about.
Yeah, but there's something going on wrong with the way it's recorded.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think that's got to be a bug. Now, the one salient solution in this whole Reddit thread is uninstall and reinstall. And I think you've probably tried that. But if you haven't, take the app off completely off the Roku and start over. The thing to understand about all of these apps is YouTube and Google and everybody have to write different apps for each platform.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are better written than others. So, for instance, somebody watching YouTube TV on an Apple TV would not necessarily have the same bugs as someone watching on a Roku. I think you found a bug in the Roku app, personally. But also it's related to the Panasonic because it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen through the TV sound on the. That could be a weird interaction. That's why I thought initially it was codecs.
Yeah, all of them.
But if it were a codec, then the live would also be bad because it's the same. In theory, the same thing's coming to you live that's coming on the recording. That's why I say it's a bug. It's doing something different to the audio from the live audio that you're getting. So the Panasonic is able to decode the live audio stream. Something's happening in the recording that's baffling the Panasonic. Mm-hmm. Is it mixing it down? Is it mixing it up? Is it changing the codec? That's why
what do you suppose they could be changing between? I mean, when you're watching the show on a recording, while the show is still being recorded.
Well, let's say, for instance,
after it's recorded.
No, that's right. You're watching a recording. It's different. So let's say, for instance, your Panasonic.
If you're watching it starting at the beginning of the show at midnight. The show's still on.
You're watching it delayed.
You're watching a recording.
Then you are watching the recording, and it doesn't happen then.
Yeah.
But I think
it doesn't happen then.
That still might be a different technology.
And it doesn't happen if you how they overlap a lot of times. Like there'll be 3 minutes or 5 minutes of Nightline on if you watch the recording of Kimmel to the end, and the sound is bad, right to the end. But if you watch the recording of Nightline, which might have a minute or two of Kimmel at the beginning, the sound is fine.
I really think that it has to do with mixing, and there are different audio codecs. Your TV has to decode what it's getting, whether it's PCM, Dolby 5.1, stereo 2-channel. There are a variety, and there are other ones, by the way. There's lots of weird kinds of codecs. And it sounds like, for some reason, when YouTube TV is saving the recording, it's either messing it up or changing the coding to something else that the Panasonic doesn't understand properly. It may be do you have a center channel?
No.
So it may be, and this is a very common problem, that it's taking a 2-channel recording, or when you're watching it live, and then saying, oh, this should be 5.1, and changing it to 5.1 and putting all of Jimmy's voice in the center channel, which you don't have. I mean, this is an example. I don't really know what's going on, but I think it's something about the audio encoding that's different in the DVR recording than it is in the live, or even apparently in the delayed, which doesn't make much sense. But, you know, you've got to finalize that DVR recording, and maybe at that finalization stage they go, hey, let's flip a switch and change to something that the Panasonic doesn't understand. And that's the only thing I can think of. It's a very strange thing, but you know, this is a problem these days because there are multiple audio codecs and multiple ways that audio can be mixed.
And I wonder, what it is about the Kimmel show that they've decided to use.
They may well say, oh yeah, we're going to do this in 5.1, and then the DVR sees 5.1. It could even be in the Kimmel metadata could be wrong.
Yeah.
Right. And so the DVR is working on the Kimmel metadata, and it's trying to encode as something that doesn't encode that way. You would think other people would have this, but you haven't. It's the combination. The Viera is older. By the way, I love those. We have a Viera at home that we still watch because that plasma.
I think I got one of the last ones.
Yeah.
Got it after they'd been discontinued.
But that's a 10-year-old technology now. So it could well be that that's part of the problem.
Well, it's kind of amazing, really.
It is. That
any of this stuff works at all.
Yeah.
When you think about all of the different interactions of all these different pieces of equipment, and they actually work together pretty well.
It is amazing. And that's because of standards. Unfortunately, with the proliferation of standards, it's become kind of a mess. And I think I think what's happened, here's my best guess. What's happening is YouTube TV is finalizing the DVR recording by changing the audio codec into something that the Panasonic does not understand. And that's just weird. Now, you could possibly fix that with a sound bar.
Why just on Kimmel, though?
Because Kimmel is recording it in some... So every show is recorded differently, by the way.
Yeah.
I watched Jeopardy, and I DVR it. And on the TiVo, and it used to sound great because I added a center channel, and now all of a sudden, like 2 weeks ago, they changed their mix, and now it doesn't sound great anymore. The audience is really loud, and the host is really quiet. Every TV show gets to do it different, and even within a network, they might use different codecs. So, and then my other theory is that there may be bad metadata in what Jimmy Kimmel's network is sending to YouTube, and the YouTube TV is acting on what Kimmel's saying, what the show is saying their codec is, and getting a bad result. There's all sorts of possibilities like that.
They obviously changed something because
one thing. Do you have any other?
Didn't used to do that.
So you're feeding the sound into the Viera. Do you have any other way of feeding the sound from? Is it a standalone Roku? It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it has optical out and it has HDMI out. What are you using to feed the TV? Optical or HDMI?
It's using the TV sound.
Yep. So it's on an ARC port on the TV.
So it's just a straight
the HDMI in. Okay. That's
right.
Normally the best way, but one thing you could try, is take the optical out. If I think you have an Ultra, so the optical out of the Roku into something that can handle the optical, a receiver or a sound bar, and just see how that works. That may be what you have downstairs, which is why it works.
Well, I have a sound bar. I have a Vizio sound bar downstairs, but I also disconnected that and checked and ran it through the TV sound just to check on that.
Yeah. So what I would suggest is running the Roku sound output directly into the Vizio. Just bring it upstairs as a test, directly into the Vizio. See if the Vizio, because that's a different decoder than the Viera's decoder. See if the Vizio, so send it the optical out.
But I'm much more interested in having it work through my
no, I understand.
My aftershocks.
But if you want to track down what's going on, you have to troubleshoot.
Yeah.
So bring up the Vizio, see if you can get that Roku audio plugged in. I think it has an optical output. Plugged into the Vizio directly via optical. See if the sound is fine. And if it is, that means the Vizio is doing a different kind of decoding than the Viera, and it's doing it properly.
Yep. So yeah, at least you'd have it, sort of ironed out.
You know, the problem is, the Viera does not understand what it's getting from YouTube DVR of the Jimmy Kimmel show for some reason. I know.
A troubling question, but certainly one worth bringing up.
Sir, we got to let you go because we're out of time. We got to get another show on the road here. But I appreciate your support. It's great to see you.
Thank you so much for your support.
Enjoy the beautiful countryside in Western Mass.
I called you once before about tell you about our fiber optic. They're a little town. I'm the apple grower out in Western Mass.
Oh, I remember you. Yes. He grows some apples.
Nice.
Delicious. I love it. I'm jealous. Next time I'm out there, I'm going to come by and say hi. Pick some
apples, please.
Apples. I love apples.
Thank you so much.
What kind of apples do you grow again?
Oh, well, our number one variety these days is Honeycrisp and Evercrisp. But the ones I know you were interested in the Macintosh that we grow.
I love Macs. But they don't keep well. Grocers don't carry them anymore because they don't keep well. The Honeycrisps are plastic.
They don't travel. They don't travel like a Honeycrisp.
But see, I grew up in New England, and we would go to the orchards like yours, and we would pick them. Oh man! And do you do apple cider in the fall?
We don't. We don't sell apple cider. We make it for ourselves.
I love it.
Nice.
Nothing like Macintosh apple cider. A pleasure talking to you, sir. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Take care.
All
now
right.
I want some apples.
I know, fresh from the tree.
I am very easily suggestible. I was watching The West Wing the other day because I had some free time and I didn't want to watch anything that Lisa might want to watch. And there's so many things we want to watch, right? So I thought, well, The West Wing's safe. It's ancient.
Right.
And President, what's his name? President comes down. Oh. And he comes down to the White House kitchen and he's looking for peanut butter and apples. And I saw that, and ever since I've had a craving for peanut butter and apples. I mean, that's why Instagram works.
I was going to say
that's why I have these stickers. Instagram works. Thank you for joining us. We do the show every Sunday. Happy Easter for those of you who celebrate between about 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. or 1:39 p.m. Pacific. It's roughly 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern time. 1800 UTC. If you want to watch it live, we do stream live on YouTube. And we do that so you can call in live, right? We like having those live calls. YouTube.com/twit is where the live stream is. If you want to watch after the fact, techguylabs.com. You can download shows or subscribe in your favorite podcast client. MIkah Sargent will be back on Tuesday for iOS Today.
Yep.
Thursday for Tech News Weekly.
That is correct. And of course, you can watch other shows on Thursday, including Hands on Mac. And you'll also be able to listen if you're in the public. Head to
President Bartlett. Thank you very much.
There you go. Head to call.twit.tv while we are doing the show to get in touch with us.
ATG want peanut butter and pears with a name like Bartlett.
ATG@twit.tv is the email where you can send text or audio or video. And if you call us during the week at 888-724-2884, you will be able to leave a voicemail to have your question answered live on the show.
We love that. Do leave us a voicemail. It's always fun to hear those voicemails. Send us a video too. You can email the video, ATG@twit.tv. What else? Is there anything else to say?
That covers it.
Join the club, twit.tv/clubtwit. We're going to have a live studio audience next week. That'll be a lot of fun. There'll be people arriving as we're wrapping up the show. Shuffling in. Wow, that's exciting. Anything else?
That takes care of it.
Thanks to all of our wonderful staffers who make the screensavers possible.
Oh, God, here we go again.
It's the Tech Guys. I know. I was teasing. Ask the Tech Guys. We'll see you next time. Have a great Geek Week, everybody. Bye-bye.